All righty, everybody. Welcome to Wild Card Week NFL playoffs. We're talking about some playoffs. Playoffs, Douglas. How do you feel about some playoffs?
I think this is the best time of the year, Stu. I love me some NFL playoffs.
Oh, I love playoffs. I love me some playoffs, especially when I always think about the league coach who got fired from the Colts. Talking about playoffs? You're talking about playoffs?
Yeah, well, unfortunately for the Colts, they're going to be talking like that again.
Yeah, so that's actually, I did not do that. That is so funny because I did not think of putting the Colts first. But I guess we should start by going back to the beginning. Right here, we'll make it easier for everybody. We'll start off with.
You don't
Like
even need 1 through 5, Stu. Yeah, we're just in the we all made the playoffs.
Yeah, so 1 through 5 doesn't matter in the postseason because we're in the postseason. Everyone is at least the worst they get is a 6, unless it was the Buccaneers if they did a little bit better, but they get a 6. So 7 is going to be winning them playoff games. 8 is going to making them AFC, NFC championships. 9 is making that Super Bowls, and 10 is guaranteed a god darn Lombardi.
I think this is the year that we won't have a 10 until it's over,
Yeah,
So,
honestly,
there's some
I
years
don't
where
think.
you feel like there's a heavy favorite. This isn't that one of those years.
I'm trying to think. Do you think there would have been any heavy favorites besides that 08 Patriots if they didn't choke against the Giants? I'm trying to think.
See, it's hard to say because, I'm even thinking 2015, but you had the Seahawks and versus the Broncos, but that was best defense versus best offense, which was fun.
And that was the worst Super Bowl ever. I'm putting that in my worst Super Bowl of my lifetime.
Yeah, that was the giant buzzkill.
Yeah, people say the Rams and Patriots won. No, that one was, at least it was small scoring, but at least that was small scoring. That one was just like, man, okay, I guess I should change this channel. This game's awful.
Well, yeah, you at least want a game where you're entertained for the Super Bowl. Like the Rams, Patriots, at least you thought maybe there was a chance for a comeback or something interesting. But
yes,
yeah, I agree.
But unfortunately, before we talk about the playoffs, and I have them in order of the teams that are going to play against each other. Actually, by day, mind you. So that's actually going to make it cool. So like I said, this is going to be the time starts for each of them. We got to start with the 6 eulogies right now. And the first one is the teams that we both predicted to be talking about next week. The Colts. If they would have made one catch at the 1-yard line, if Taylor Goodman could make a catch. So,
yeah.
I guess
it just shows how hard it is to win,
It's just like, man, I thought the Colts were going to do it. I mean, granted, they did exceed my expectations. I honestly thought this season was done. I thought the ownership didn't care about the Colts. I thought the Colts were going to be probably bottom 5 worst teams in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And look at this. We're talking about the eulogy in January. So good for you.
Yeah. You held out to the final day.
You found out to the final day. So I can't hate on that. It will be interesting how they're going to do for next year. I mean, do you think they're going to keep Gardner Minshew? Are they going to have to do – because I think he's not in a contract, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, they're going to build back around that Anthony Richardson still. Because that's what's crazy to me is they did all this with a backup quarterback. So then you put that rookie, give him a little bit of time. I think he's going to be really good.
Yeah.
He looked good when he was playing early in the year. So there's something to be excited about here in Colts world.
And also Gardner Minshew actually probably had the best of his career. Like I said, which is a crazy career because he was a backup to the Eagles and was kind of a bust. And then came to the Colts as a backup and then had a decent career this season.
Was he? No, that was Blake Bortles. Yeah. He has had a weird career. So.
Yeah, he had a weird career. I think he was on 3 other teams, if I'm mistaken. Granted, don't quote me on that, but I know one of them was the Eagles, and he wasn't good with the Eagles.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to see him get his chance. Maybe he'll get a contract somewhere for a team that needs just a veteran backup, or maybe he'll get a starting gig somewhere.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think there's definitely some teams that
Yeah.
are like in that middle. I would wonder, like, could the Raiders take Gardner Minshew? I'm just thinking about it, just pulling it out of my butt. I'm just thinking, what about the Saints?
hmm Yeah, I mean, I think the Saints are going to be content with Carr for a little bit, but I don't know. I could see the Raiders doing it. I could see maybe the Patriots trying it if they can't get like a good draft pick that they want.
Mhm. I mean, it will be definitely interesting. It will be interesting. So, unfortunately, so long. Farewell. Evita Zay, Colts, goodbye. I'm sorry to say.
Bye, Colts.
Bye, Colts. And then we got to say goodbye to the season of pain. Vikings equals pain. The Minnesota Vikings, and another shocker that no one's surprised about. They are eliminated, and the season ends like that again. So, Douglas, how do you feel about the Vikings getting eliminated?
Um, I mean, we're not surprised. Like, you had them at a 5 to begin the season. There was a minute there in the middle of the season where, like, maybe this team will sneak into the playoffs. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you lost your franchise QB. Hopefully you don't waste Justin Jefferson's prime. That's how I'm feeling.
Yeah, but we got to do. What do you do with Kirk Cousins now since he's injured? And he's gonna, and like I said, he's in the free agency. What do you do with the contract of Kirk Cousins now?
See, that's what I don't know. Like, I mean, he's never won anything significant. He's in his mid 30s coming off of a significant injury. It's like, I mean, if you're Minnesota, like maybe you just run it back one time and see. Like maybe like draft a rookie and you never know what'll happen. I don't know.
Yeah,
Because like, I feel like they're in a really weird spot, but it'll affect their franchise here for a minute. But I mean, if I'm them, if I'm thinking about immediate playoff availability, Kirk Cousins gives you the best chance to be competitive next year. But also, I mean, he's a 35-year-old or so quarterback coming off of what was it, an Achilles injury?
yeah.
Like those are
That's
those are hard to come back from.
yeah, and that's like a 6 months, right? Rehabilitation, right? That's not like a
I think so. I mean, he'll
so.
probably be rehabbing all the way up until the start of training camp. And I mean, if I'm them, I'd probably bring him back, but I'm also not hating the idea of just like, drafting a rookie and,
Or
go.
or maybe you can get some draft picks out of Kirk Cousins. I know he's a free agent, but
Yeah.
like maybe trade him to, like, I'm trying to think. I'm thinking now. What about Kirk Cousins getting traded to? I'm just thinking the Raiders again, like the Raiders or something like that for some draft picks.
See, but my only problem is, well, I don't know. I mean, I guess it could happen. I don't understand how the NFL trades work, but I feel like the Raiders wouldn't give up draft picks if they could just sign him.
Yeah, that's true because he isn't a free agency. So I don't know. I just feel like, would you dump Kirk Cousins now?
I mean,
Because
I
you
don't think I
have a good
personally would,
contract.
but
Honestly, I would probably put him on like a 1 year deal, maybe like 2-3 million.
uh,
You know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
yeah, like that's what I think. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't, yeah, if they could get him for that cheap, that'd be a dream. And then go out and draft a QB and let him, develop a year or two behind Kirk.
Yeah. I mean, but I have a feeling Kurt's gonna ask for money. I'm like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, I think he's been making like 25, 30 million a year. So,
Yeah, and I don't think I don't know. I wonder how's like the Vikings cap space right now. I think they're still okay
yeah.
as of now.
Well, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where, like, if you can get him back on like a little bit of a deal, maybe you can get a couple pieces around him and take that next step. Especially North is going to be rough for the Vikings for a while. I mean, the
Yeah,
Bears are about to turn a corner. The Packers made the playoffs.
yeah, the Packers made the playoffs, and I think, and like Jordan Love is actually a great elite QB right now. Like he looks like, which stinks because I'm like, as a Lions fan, Douglas, you're like, I want the Packers to have a bad QB. When are you gonna give me a bad QB?
I guess we'll see because he's been good. I don't think he'll necessarily get to that Rodgers level yet, but I mean his stats look similar. He's done similar things, so I don't know. hopefully the Lions can at least, win a division title or two in this span. Additionally, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, but unfortunately, I got to say one thing before we go. Do you like that, Vikings? Do you like that?
Yeah, like they feel like they're in football hell right now to me because it's like so many hard decisions coming. Hopefully, you
Yeah,
get it right, and you're in a hard division. So, good luck,
yeah.
Minnesota.
Good luck, Minnesota. I'm sorry, unfortunately. Who ever thought the NFC North was going to be a powerhouse if I thought about it?
Yeah, that is wild.
Now we got to talk about the other team that I'm not shocked that was eliminated.
Yeah,
The
me neither. I mean, I'm kind of surprised that we have to talk about them this week.
And I guess we got to talk about the firing because Arthur Smith finally got fired. I got to say, like last week, I was a little bit worried when I was hearing reports. They're like, they're going to keep Arthur Smith. And I was like, what? This don't make sense to me. Can you explain this to me, Douglas? This team has a losing record.
I could.
I know Arthur Smith's a good coach.
Yeah, I mean, they never really got their wheels turning with him, so probably a smart decision. I mean, personally, like I'm granted I didn't watch a ton of Falcons, but if I'm them, I'm probably strongly considering a new QB too. Like Desmond Ritter's all right, but I don't think he's necessarily a franchise QB. So like it might be a long couple of years. But Alex and I were talking about them too, and I think both of our gripe is the same for Atlanta. It's like they keep drafting like these Lamborghini like players, and then they're using them like beat up Toyotas. They're like, all
Yes.
right, we're gonna get this top 5 running back, and we're gonna give him like 8 carries a game, and we're gonna use like our backup just as much as him. It's like, what are you guys doing? Like, why do you not throw the Kyle Pitts?
Bijan had was amazing rusher, and yet
Yeah,
you still were not that good in the NFC South. Your quarterback was not the best.
like Kyle Pitts should be doing something.
Yeah,
Where's Kyle Pitts?
yeah. Where is like the elite talent? You have all the elite talent, and you're blowing it. I feel like the Falcons are like the Chargers of the NFC. You have all this talent. You have all this greatness. Maybe not a good quarterback, but the coach is screwing it up.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like that. Like when when you spend top 10 picks on offensive skill positions, you expect to be leaning on those guys. Like the Lions with Calvin Johnson, like, all right, we can't mess this up. He's going to get 12 catches a game. And then you just see Kyle Pitts out there blocking and Bijan sitting on the sideline while they're playing Algier. And you're like, what are we doing here? Like when Bijan touches the ball, he's explosive. He's fun to watch. He's just a really solid running back. Give the man the ball.
I mean, probably almost potential Pro Bowler. I'm just saying, rookie Pro Bowler. I'm just saying. I know he didn't get it, but still.
I mean, if he got more touches, he would have been in the combo.
It's just like, it's so frustrating. And honestly, it's just coaching.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think of the free agent, like, or not free agent, but like head coach vacancies. I think the Falcons would be one of the more attractive ones. Just when you think of some of the skill players that they have, like, they have a decent roster. Like, you think about the Patriots, and I'd be like, I have to follow Bill Belichick with this roster, and you're like, this is terrible. Like, I have Mac Jones and Ezekiel, like a 3-year past his prime Ezekiel Elliott to work with. Like, what am I doing here?
Oh my goodness. And
The
then
Patriots need to rebuild. Like, I don't know. Falcons don't need a rebuild.
You got that. You got Zeke. You got who's the quarterback dancer? Sorry.
Well, exactly. Like, they don't anybody have note. Like, they have like Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi splitting games.
Oh, it's gonna make me so mad. It's like, who's the guy that was on the Steelers? Juju Smith-Schuster. And Juju, who's probably gonna get cut, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, yeah, he went from like pretty relevant to like, I don't know, like barely getting touches quickly.
yeah, and it's crazy because he might even be cut by the Patriots.
Yeah, I can't figure it out. Like, they're gonna need to go down to the bones. Like, I think the Patriots are looking at a while of, because like Bill Belichick, for all the good he didn't leave them with much. Like, he kind of did some wonky draft classes at the end and screwed them too.
That's what I'm trying to think. It would be interesting. What if Belichick became a Falcon? Just Belichick.
That's what they're saying. They're saying the Falcons would have some interest. That'd be interesting.
That would be very interesting. I mean, granted, I will say I'm wearing the hoodie one because the RIP to the Belichick era of the hoodie. I should have had a dark hoodie, unfortunately, but this unfortunately might add. But unfortunately for the Falcons, I just gotta say one thing: 28-3. You're cursed by that.
You know, how do you beat them? You just join them. Get Belichick on your side.
Oh my god, that would be so funny to think. Because I didn't think about that until now.
So yeah, and there's been a lot of ironic NFL storylines this week. That's for sure. Belichick going to the Falcons is one of them.
That would be the most ironic, and then they win a Super Bowl because of Belichick. That would be the most.
How funny would that be though? Like, because then that would like cloud up the Brady versus Belichick debate so much more. Because then you're sitting there and you're like, both of them went to new teams and won a Super Bowl. You know, they won whatever 5 together, and then they went out and they both won one separately with different organizations.
Yes.
It'd be pretty fun if Belichick somehow won one for a different organization.
Yeah, that is going to be interesting. Now, unfortunately, so long. Farewell, Falcons. And hopefully 28-3 still haunts you in your dreams.
Yeah, hopefully it still haunts
you. Now we got to talk about the other team, the Saints.
You know, the Saints, they're one of those teams that they kind of, I'm just going to say they make me mad sometimes. Because, like, when they play well, they play really well. But, like, when they play bad, they play really bad. It's like,
I think
they beat didn't they just beat the Buccaneers by, like, a boatload 2 weeks ago?
And yeah, like, I'm at it right now. Did the Buccaneers, so for the Saints that are not marching in, unfortunately, this is the Crashland Saints. So the Saints, I mean, they destroyed the Falcons, which is actually kind of funny. I totally forgot about the whole. Did you know about the Arthur Smith when he shook hands with the Saints?
With like the late touchdown or whatever.
Yeah, and he got pissed, and I was like, "That was a BS call. I can't believe it. That's effing BS." And it was like, Arthur Smith, that's on you, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get like those unwritten rule things, but I'm also like, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of toolish. Like, they still talk about the famous college one with Woody Hayes going for 2 against Michigan. And, like, those things are just viewed as petty, though, even through time. It's like, it's a funny story. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, do you know the Woody Hayes thing I'm talking about?
No. Okay, I did not know.
So, basically, Ohio State was, like, kicking Michigan's ass. And they're up by, like, 20 points late in the fourth quarter, and they score a touchdown. And then Woody Hayes decides to go for 2. And then the interviewer after the game's like, "Coach, like, why would you go for 2 in that situation?" And he just looks at him and goes, "Because I couldn't go for 3."
Oh, that's a great Woody Hayes quote. I love Woody Hayes. I always say it. He's always my favorite. Favorite. He's my favorite of the coaches. I mean, goodness, him and Jim Trussell.
Oh, but anyway, Jim Trussell guy.
Yes, I love Jim Trussell. I thought he was a great. I thought he was a great Ohio State coach.
He was. I mean, anybody that wins a national title is a legend at their alma mater.
Yeah.
And now Harbaugh, even if he leaves for the NFL, we'll always remember Jimmy.
Yes. I will say, Georgia, you blew it.
But back to the Saints.
But anyway, we should go back to this. Yeah, we should talk about the Saints. So yeah, the Saints actually killed the Buccaneers by 10. They had like a decent amount of runs, and then they just like, I don't know, because their division is still trash. That's the only problem.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. And but then when they click, like there was a game not too long ago, I don't remember against who, but Derek Carr threw for like 300 plus yards and 4 touchdowns, and they just were amazing. And you're like, why can't you just do this more? Like, you guys have so much potential. Just like air it out. Like, you got Chris Olave out there. You got some other nice receivers. You still got Alvin Kamara. Like, this team shouldn't have those games where they just look so bad.
Yeah, and there was like some clunkers losses. Like, I'm trying to look at I mean, you did lose. You did come close to the Lions, but you lost to the Falcons at one point. The Vikings. You lost to. Like, and the I'm just like, eh.
Yeah, I mean they had a good chance to make the playoffs, but they couldn't get out of their own way.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of them were just like close games or like you got killed by the Buccaneers. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, yeah, I feel like the Saints, yeah, they're kind of in the mediocre. I never really thought they're going to be good. I didn't really like the Derek Carr coming to the Saints.
Same.
Yeah, I didn't think he's like, I never thought Derek Carr is an elite QB. I thought he's a mediocre. He's like a replacement level mediocre QB in my eyes.
Well, that's what I thought. Like with the Rams getting Stafford, I thought Stafford was underrated. I feel like I felt the opposite for Derek Carr, where like I have never been able to find the Derek Carr love. Like, yeah, cool, he can put up big games occasionally with good receivers. It's not like he's winning games. Like he's not winning division titles. Like granted, neither was Stafford, but like I don't know. I didn't get it. I guess maybe I'm just like being biased, but I was like I didn't get the love for Derek Carr.
Yeah, I never really got the love for Carr. I agree with you. I just never really got the love for Derek Carr. And you know, it's kind of crazy. Even like the media market, and I'm like listening to my podcast and listening to my YouTube, and it's like they didn't talk a lot about the Saints, which that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
Like that's how irrelevant the Saints have been. Like they haven't been like a total disaster like the Jets or the Patriots, but they haven't been like that Super Bowl caliber team. Like this is like the best four. This is like the most mid four if I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they kind of feel football hellish to me as well, unfortunately.
Yeah, I do not feel I'm going to be honest with you. I think they're going to be four next year, the year after. Maybe they might be even worse. Like I just do not feel
Yeah.
confident in that. But I do feel good that I clocked it on the Saints. I clocked it. I feel really good on that. Preseason, I gave him a 4. I knew it.
Yeah. Oh, good deal, Stu. That's a good prediction because they feel like a football hell team to me.
Yeah, unfortunately, I guess our final thoughts, and I'll say it: Saints are not marching in. They're collapsing. They're stumbling.
Yeah. They're marching onto their couches.
Yes, have fun. Hey, Saints fans, I'm just looking at the couch. Are you having fun on the couch right now? Because you're gonna be sitting there for a while.
Yeah. Better luck next year. Bye, guys.
Bye. And then we gotta talk about this collapse. We both thought the Jaguars were gonna talk about next week, but nope. They decided to lay the biggest egg. What happened? You were supposed to be in the postseason.
Yeah, that was like an all timer too. Because if I remember
Yeah.
correctly, this team was 8-3 at one point.
Yes. Like this was 8-3. And like no, actually this was like 10-7. And then they
Yeah.
just never came back. And King Henry just had like amazing rushing yards and they couldn't stop him. What was this Jaguars team? This has been the utter collapse. Like if I'm looking at it, the last 5 games, lost to the let me check. So the last 5 games, you lost to the Titans. You beat the Panthers. Okay, they're bad. Lost to the Buccaneers by 18. Lost to the Ravens by 14. Lost to the Brownies close. You lost to the Bengals in overtime. Like the crazy part is if you're not counting the Panthers win, their last time they won a game was Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's the thing. Like they started out great. Like they had that huge win in London over the Bills, and everything looked great. Like everything looked exciting. Like the 7 felt justified. I don't know. I mean, I know Trevor Lawrence is hurt for a while in there, but you're also like, dude, if you have one game against the Tennessee Titans to make the playoffs, you got to win that game. Like, and like, granted, he's still young, but this felt like a legacy game to me in a small way where I'm like, dude, you're supposed to be like this great prodigy, and you go and you lose to the Titans with your whole season on the line. Like,
Oh
Peyton Manning wouldn't have lost that game still.
no, Peyton Manning would
Tom
not.
Brady wouldn't have lost that game.
No. Even I hate to say it, even not uh, Big Ben probably would not have lost his game in his prime. I hate to say that.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, and granted, it's a team sport, but it's also like, because like, let me look at the score because I don't feel like it was like all that great of a game either.
No, it
Like,
was
it's
a
not
very.
like
I mean,
they.
it was the closest, but it was like most of the time the Titans were in the lead the whole time. Like I'm looking at the stats
Well,
right
then
there.
that's the.
Like maybe like a touchdown in the second quarter in 12 minutes. Literally 12 to about 8 minutes in the second quarter. 4 minutes, mind you, Douglas. The Jaguars had the lead the whole game.
Yeah, like I don't know, just embarrassing. Like, granted, the Titans had some nice games there at the end. I'll see, like, look, like first thing I pull up too when I see that is concerned about.
Oh,
I'm
can you
like,
repeat that?
I'm sitting here thinking similar things. Like, the first thing that pops up when I click on this game is just a video of why Stephen A is concerned about Trevor Lawrence being a franchise QB, and I'm like, I get it. Like, I'm sitting here having the same questions. I mean, I think he mildly gets saved by his miraculous comeback against the Chargers last year. I'm like, that feels more like a really weird fluke than anything.
I think honestly that's more like the Chargers like blowing it, like Trevor Lawrence doing good. Like honestly, that's how I feel. And you know what the crazy part is, and I just realized this. I was watching like the Your Name Trees video about this week in sports when he talked about
Yeah.
this week. I didn't realize this until last year. They played against the Tennessee Titans, and the Jaguars beat the Titans to make it to the playoffs. And now it's an Uno reverse card right now. And now the Titans took out the Jaguars to make it to the postseason.
Hey, I yeah, I mean, granted, like you're always going to be disappointed when you make the playoffs, but some feel a lot more disappointing. Like the Falcons missing it, or the Colts is like, nobody expected you to be here. Like, good try. Or for Jacksonville, it's kind of like, come on, guys. Like you're supposed to be turning a corner. You were starting off as one of the better teams in the league. Start off the season, you have 8 wins, 3 losses, beat the Bills,
They
and then you
literally were
miss.
the number one seed at one point. Weren't they
Exactly.
literally
Like,
at the bye?
well, I mean, so you got to figure. So they finished the season 1-7. So you win one of those 7 games that you lost, and you're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Or wait, no, that's 1-7. No, I can't think. They're 1-5. So they had 5 games that they could have won any of them to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
They couldn't do it.
You couldn't beat like literally, and I know this is a tough schedule, but like for goodness sakes, like I know that was a tough like row, like Bengals, Brownies, Ravens, Buccaneers, like
I mean, there's tough teams in there, but I mean, the Buccaneers, like, I mean, granted they made the playoffs. Like those are some playoff teams, but you're also like, man, the Bengals without Joe Burrow, you got to be able to beat the Bengals without Joe Burrow.
yeah,
You got to be able to beat the Buccaneers because the Buccaneers were looking bad at the time, and then all of a sudden they pull out a big game, and so it's just
yeah, and it
I
wasn't
don't
even a
know
close game. It was by 18.
exactly. Like it's just I don't know. I'd be a little frustrated if I was in Jacksonville. Like
But yeah,
this feels like a
honestly,
team that collapsed. I mean, it
and
is a
I
team
should
that
ask
collapsed.
this: should Doug Peterson be fired? I'm asking that question
Um,
right now. People need
I
to be fired. Honestly, some people need to be. I know they got rid of the defensive coordinator. People need to be fired for this
yeah,
atrocious
I
kicked
think what
out.
they did is enough because I mean I think if Trevor Lawrence is healthy the full time, I get it. Um, but like the only out that I can have for them is that Trevor Lawrence is hurt like for a lot of those games at the end of the year, and I get it. But he was back for Tennessee. You gotta win that game. It's
Yeah,
unacceptable.
honestly, I think the Jaguars need a better old line. Why'd you get Trevor Lawrence hurt?
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I mean, he's been banged up a lot. I mean, he's good, but there's and like my list of young quarterbacks. I mean, there's about 6 guys I would still take ahead of him. You
Yeah,
know, like he's not in my upper echelon of like quarterbacks.
yeah. So unfortunately, Jaguars,
Peace.
we won't be talking to you soon. Have fun in Cancun because unfortunately, the Jaguars got speared, unfortunately. And now we got to talk about the surprise-ish.
Yeah.
The Seahawks, fortunately, got out. Granted, I did actually make a boo-boo. Last week, they got a 5, unfortunately, because they had to. I just realized I made a boo-boo. Because they were last week a 5, because they needed to have the Green Bay Packers lose. And now we got to talk about the eulogy now of Pete Carroll going out. So, Douglas, what is your thoughts on the disappointing Seahawks season?
I mean, I think the Pete Carroll move was more than the play. Like, I thought they were like a 5.5 to begin the season. I was like, maybe they're a playoff team, but like they're in the NFC West with the 49ers and the Rams. Like, I didn't like it. I mean, granted, they beat the Lions. They had some nice wins this year. But man, oh man, like granted, this might just be me having some Steelers hate. But the fact that they lost at home to the Steelers, a big win against Philadelphia, it just felt like a choke job. Like, I don't know if they just were too excited about beating the Eagles or what happened, but it's like, man, like you had a golden chance and you blew it.
Yeah, literally the last 5 games, I'm like looking at it, they lost 2 of those. They would have beaten the Cowboys, or they would have beat the Steelers. They would be in the postseason right now.
Well, that's the thing, and that's how close it is sometimes. It's just, I don't know. Like, I'm surprised that they're moving on from Pete Carroll, but then again, like they really haven't been competitive in like 4 or 5 years. So I mean, I kind of get it because like I think just, I mean, if they go get that Washington Husky coach, I think that'd be awesome. Go get the dude that just went to the national title game. Like maybe they can kind of just, I don't know, because Washington this year too is like DK Metcalf never felt dominant. Like they just never felt like dominant like they have in years past.
Yeah, and I will always say it. You know what, Pete Carroll, you had a great time in Seattle. You know what? Go get your gold jacket. You deserve it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was gonna say, I mean, yeah, he should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he has the Super Bowl.
You won a Super Bowl. You made it to back-to-back Super Bowls. Granted, if you did a run play instead of a pass play, even though I will always argue, 9 times out of 10, that pass play would have made a touchdown, and the Seahawks would be back-to-back Super Bowl champs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's how wild it is. Thankfully, he got us 1 Super Bowl, and good for him. Good for him. I mean, I think too, like it's kind of crazy because I don't think he wants to retire. Like it sounds more like the organization wants a fresh face to him, which is a little bit surprising to me because I kind of thought that he would earn enough respect to like decide when he retires. But like at the same time, these teams, they're worth billions of dollars. They don't want to keep having 9 and 8 level seasons.
Yeah. Now, that's a good question. Where should Pete Carroll go to if he wants to go for another coaching job?
See, I mean, I think for like him and Belichick, like you got to look at the rosters more than anything else, because like you're gonna get a lot of say. You have a ton of experience. Like if I'm him, like I want to go somewhere. Like I would want to go to maybe Los Angeles Chargers. Like you got Justin Herbert to work with. You got Keenan Allen. You got fun pieces there. Like maybe go to a team like Atlanta where they have some fun young pieces. I think he's going to be content, though. It sounds like he just wants to stay in Seattle and be like an advisor in the organization or something.
Yeah. Now, it's going to be interesting. Will they be worse without Pete? Do you think they're going to be worse? That's I'm a little bit like concerned with. Granted,
No, I don't. I don't. Like, I know it sounds weird, but I'm also like, the fact that they've still been good with Geno Smith, it's kind of like, I don't know. I think they could just use a fresh perspective too. Because I mean, I feel like this is a team that's been kind of around that. Like last year was a cute story because they traded Russell Wilson. This year you expected them to take a step and they didn't. Or like I think this team has enough talent to take a step. They just didn't this year for some reason.
yeah, and it stinks because like the last time they won a playoff game, this was 2017, when this is the last time someone else made the playoffs, the Lions, and that wasn't even a good Lions roster, to be honest with you. Even you would agree, Douglas. That was kind of like that wasn't the best Lions roster, and they got killed by like 20 points.
Yeah. And the Lions' best chance was like the year before for sure.
Yeah.
And this year they have a good chance to end their playoff winning drought, but we'll get to them later.
Yes, it's
But yeah, I
fun.
mean, 2017 though. So I mean, that's the thing. Like, granted, I mean, they only have elevated expectations because of him, but like to not win a playoff game in 6 years, and to not really be making the playoffs consistently, and they're kind of falling behind a little bit. Sometimes you just because I think that sometimes their status quo bias. I was hearing about this the other day, where it's like, we can run it back next year and go 9-8 again. It's like you're never going to win a Super Bowl like that. So like, if the goal is to win Super Bowls, you're not going to win a Super Bowl the way that this team is going.
No, and I definitely do agree on that one. So unfortunately, the Seahawks go your DVRs and rewatch those old Super Bowls. Not the one you lost to the Patriots, but the one you beat the Bills, the Broncos.
One of the most dominant games of all time. So good for you.
Good for you, Pete. Get your gold jacket. Go to the Ring of Honor for Seahawks. You did well. Most successful Seahawks coach ever. So round of
Happy
applause.
retirement, Pete. Happy retirement.
And I will say this, damn it, Mr. Carroll, I wish I'd look that great at 72. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he's doing something right.
Yeah. Oh, God, I thought he was in his 50s.
Yeah, it is wild to me that like he was in his like 50s at USC.
Yeah. And like I said, well, when he almost got the national championship and then got that revoked. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
he's had a long career though. It's been a successful career,
And
success in
also,
college and the pros.
and also he had his redemption back from the NFL when I think, was he like a Chargers head coach? I'm trying to think. It was not good. I'm trying to think.
I
Was it
think he
Ram?
was on the Patriots at one point or something.
Yeah, and he was not good with the Patriots. Like they were really
Yeah.
kind of mediocre, and they were going to boot him out. So it's a good redemption arc, I would say. Did bad
Yeah.
in the NFL, went back to college, won a national championship, then had a bunch of
Stu,
scandals.
how weird is it though? Like Pete Carroll's retiring, Bill Belichick is either moving or retiring, Nick Saban's retiring, like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning are, long retired. The sport is changing very fast.
This is the end of the era. This is the end of this 2000s, 2010s era of great coaches. Now, this is a good question. When we talk about the Steelers, we'll talk about we might talk about another retirement. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, well, let's say goodbye to the Seahawks first. Goodbye, Seahawks.
Goodbye, Seahawks. Unfortunately, you're done. Now, we're going to have to talk about the interesting part. So normally, we like to talk about all these teams and how they played last week.
Mm-hmm.
It don't matter no more. We're in the playoffs right now.
We're looking forward.
So what we're going to do is going to discuss. We have the two teams that are going to play each other tonight. I mean, on Saturday at 4 my time, East Coast time.
Yeah.
We got the Browns and the Texans. So Douglas, we're going to make it different and interesting. We're going to talk about the pros and cons. Do you think the Brownies, we'll start with the Brownies since they are away, on how their playoff chances of making a Super Bowl?
I like their odds. Like there's just something about the way that they play. It feels like that playoff Midwestern football style to me. They feel like a team like with a dominant defense, a good run game, just enough passing. I dare say, Stu, this reminds me of a team that recently won the national championship.
Oh, are you talking about
like Michigan had the number one defense. The Browns have the number one defense in the NFL. Myles Garrett is amazing.
Though I will tell you this is actually a random tangent.
To dominate.
You know what the funniest thing, and I didn't realize this? The Big Ten bookend the beginning of the playoffs, 4-team playoffs, and Michigan books end. So 2 Big Ten teams bookend the beginning.
Big Ten over Pac-12 teams. What a way to start and end it.
Yes, we own the Pac-12. Let's go.
Yeah, that was glorious.
Yes.
Like I said earlier, Stu, I can now live with the Cowboys winning a Super Bowl.
All right, give them a 10 right now, Douglas.
guaranteed. But I think
Guaranteed Lombardi.
the Browns are hard for me. Like we gave them an 8. It's so hard though because they're wild card teams. Like going on the road.
And this is gonna be a tough part because they're on the road, and if they beat them, they got to play against Baltimore.
Yeah, and like that's where I'm really hesitant to give them the 8 because I'm like, granted they did beat Baltimore in Baltimore, but it's like this Baltimore team is dominant. Like if anybody could do it, would be the Browns. And I think the NFL does it weird. I think they replace each week. So depending on who else wins or loses, that'll like determine the matchups.
Yeah.
So like if like a 7 seed somehow wins, then they would play the Ravens.
Yeah. So it's basically the lowest seed goes and plays against the number 1.
Yeah, and so I'm like, if they get lucky, like I think they still have a case for an 8 because I mean their strength is obvious, defense, like just playing like really solid fundamental football, like doing enough run and throwing it over the top. Njoku's been awesome. You know,
I
like
mean,
you had him for fantasy and he helped you win that title. I mean, my goodness, Njoku at the end, like you get a Njoku, Amari Cooper, Jerome Ford, and you got and Kareem Hunt, you got just enough weapons.
and I will say this: you have a veteran that made it to the Super Bowl in Flacco.
Exactly. You have a Super Bowl winning QB now. There's a lot to like.
Like I said, the Browns, and whoever thought the Browns ever had a Super Bowl winning QB? To think about it.
And that's the thing, like if he wins like the Super Bowl, like I don't know what you do. I mean, you can't get rid of Deshaun because nobody in their right mind would trade for anything for that guy. So it's like pretty much even if they have this amazing run, you still got to go with Deshaun. So it's like, I don't know. If this was the year, I think we both agree, win the Super Bowl this year so we don't have to hear about Deshaun doing it.
Oh God. And then I'm gonna be like, I don't want Deshaun to win. I mean, I'll be happy if Flacco gets it. I'm
Yeah.
never gonna be happy with Deshaun. I'm sorry.
No, but I don't know. I mean, I'm torn because like my heart wants to give an 8 for the Browns. Like we've been joking that they're going to make the Super Bowl all year, but like I just really like the way that they play, and like I think that they'll beat Houston.
And it's the crazy because I'm looking at like for the wild card, the percentages right now. They're 50%. I'm actually kind of surprised versus 49. I'm actually kind of surprised on that.
Yeah, me too. And like that's where I think sometimes these rankings aren't perfect because I mean it's hard. I mean, granted, it's in Houston. Houston just had a big road win. Like Houston's had a lot of good wins. I just see the Browns as the more complete, better team.
Yeah, so I think we should probably give them the 7 just to see how the roster goes. But
I was gonna say, I think that's fair because like if they have to play in Baltimore the week after, that'll be a tough one. But maybe it'll be one of those things where they have the momentum because they've been playing.
yeah,
And the Ravens will be rusty with their bye week. So
yes.
7's fair. No disrespect, Browns. You still have an amazing shot at making a run here.
Yes. So we got to talk about the next one, the Texans, who I never thought we were going to talk about the postseason with the Texans. Honestly, give that guy coach of the year. I think if I thought about it, I know people like Dan Campbell should get coach of the year. I think you should give the Texans just because I felt like it had the weapons, hadn't had the draft picks.
I mean, I think, and like, granted, this is just me being a small hater. Like, I like everything Dan Campbell's done. Like, he's instilled a toughness and like fun mentality in Detroit and like a belief in his players. But like, sometimes stop going for 2 and 4th and 8 for no reason. Like, you still gotta play smart in this league. Like, he's basically doing what we all want to do on Madden, where it's like, I'm never gonna punt, and it's like,
go for it all the time. 4th and 18.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's cute every once in a while, but then you're like, all right, cool. Like we could have a field goal to win this game. He's like, nah, I want to win by 4 points instead of 1 point. It's like, no, just win the game.
You got to win the
Stop
game.
being silly.
Yeah, that's my one. And when we get to Detroit, that's gonna be my one con when I talk about the Detroit Lions. But anyway, we should talk about the pros and cons about the Texans. Their young core. That's
So
my
I
one
mean,
pro.
yeah, I mean, pro. I mean, it's hard. They're a hard team to like give a ton into because obviously we see the preseason too there. They're a team that we didn't expect much from, but they had two like top 5 draft picks, and it
Mhm.
looks like they crushed those draft picks. You have an Ohio State QB lighting it up. Looks like
Mhm.
offensive rookie of the year. Will Anderson's been a stud.
Mhm.
Like they're not as well rounded as the Browns, but like they're just a really solid roster. CJ Stroud is an instant amazing QB. Like he's made the receivers look really relevant. Like he's probably going to get Nico Collins a really nice contract for just those two just have a sweet connection.
Mhm.
And I just feel like this is just a team that while we're not there yet, this is a team that for the next 10 plus years is going to be a force.
It's gonna be interesting. I definitely am gonna be interested how CJ Stroud's career in the NFL. Will he become a lead quarterback? Will he
I mean,
become great? Will he become like the Cam Newton, where it's just like a one good stump and then just like eh? You know what I
yeah.
mean? Anything can happen.
Well, yeah. I mean, those sophomore years too. Once coaches figure them out a little bit, so how will CJ adjust to, coaches having a year of NFL tape on him? We'll see.
Yeah, and so I mean, I'm probably gonna give them the 6. I mean, granted, I think maybe the only con is like they're still a young team, and like I said, they did lose to the Browns
Yeah.
by I mean, maybe a middle a lot by like 14. If I'm looking at it right now, yeah, you lost them by 14.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's not like there's no chance that they win. Like obviously ESPN saying it's like almost a coin flip, but like give me the veteran QB that's won a Super Bowl over the rookie phenom.
Yeah. Yeah. So unfortunately, I just do not feel confident with the Texans. So
I mean, yeah, it's kind of one of those things where it's like this is one of those rare cases where I think you celebrate a playoff, like just making it, even if you ultimately do lose. You're like, dude, there's so much to build around here. Like
mhm.
they won the division now too.
It was
You
just
know,
crazy. I didn't even think they were going to win the division.
exactly. They literally are division champs. Like in year one of CJ Stroud, and like they're only going to get more talented and be able to build around him. Good future, Texans.
It's going to be interesting when we get to the Texans next year. When we get to 2024 NFL season,
Yeah.
what are we gonna put the Texans on there? Because I'm like thinking, man, there's like millions of possibilities. This is like, I feel like one of
Well,
those conspiracies where it's like I can think of all the scenarios that can happen.
you know what I'm kind of excited for with doing like this, like video and things like that too, is like now I'll pay a little bit more attention to the draft. Like I always watch it, but like to really see how these teams fill holes and like prepare for next year. Like because this is a team that if they just keep adding to this core, like watch out. I mean, this is the team I'd be scared of in the AFC South. Granted, Colts might be better, but shoot, give me the Texans over the Jaguars for the coming years.
Yeah, yeah, this is gonna be so much fun. And plus, we'll see how it goes with the Texans. So Texans, we
Rock
wish
and
we
roll.
could do better. I still don't understand why ESPN gave you like a 49%. I feel like it should be like at least 40. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, I
I'm
think
just
too,
saying.
like the NFL ones are always a lot closer than college. Because
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna lie, I get really annoyed with the college rankings because like Michigan will be like 10-0, like and then like still Ohio State's a huge favorite against them. I'm like, this is so annoying. Like
Yeah.
every year, every single year.
Every
Yeah. Like
I
I think the
now
NFL they have it more figured out with their rankings.
yeah, I mean granted maybe, but it's kind of crazy. I'm like looking at the spread. So they only have 2 points ahead for the
Yeah,
honestly, I
that's
think that's
about right.
yeah,
Fair.
but still maybe I'm just maybe thinking that they lost to them to the Brownies by like 14. I'm like, it should be like a 6. I'm just saying.
See, I mean, no, I get it, but I think that's the hard part for me at the NFL is because like I put a lot of stock in those things too, but then you just like think about like how the Patriots or not the Patriots, the Cowboys and Eagles, both teams dominated at home. Like the NFL home playoff game, like rowdy fans, you know, the Browns, I mean, they haven't had a ton of playoff success, so it's like it'll be a hard game to win for the Browns, but one that they should win.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. But like I said, I'm probably going to give them a 6. So we'll see how the Texans will win this one. Or more likely, they're probably going to lose the Brownies. But actually, we should do a prediction before we go. You and me, we should do a 3-2-1. Who's going to win this game?
I think we're right on that.
Yeah, we both said Brownies. All right, we're going to go with the Browns. Browns. Even though I have family that are Texan fans. Sorry,
I have an idea for the next game here, Stu. Let's do what you just did, but before we start ranking the teams, I just want to see if we're on the same page. It'll affect our discussions.
All right,
So what game we got next?
We got the Dolphins versus the Chiefs.
What a game. Golly.
Let's do okay, we'll do 3-2-1. Who do you think's gonna win? 3, 2, 1, Chiefs.
Miami.
Wow! Oh no! Oh wow! We got a disagreement right here.
I fundamentally don't believe in the Chiefs this year.
I feel the same. I feel like the opposite. I fundamentally don't believe in the Dolphins this year.
See, I mean, I think the thing for me with the Dolphins is I don't know. It's hard because they ended the year bad with those 2 losses, but those are also losses to, in my opinion, the 2 best teams in the AFC. Those are the.
But hear me out, Douglas. This team has never beaten. They've only beaten one 500 and above record team this year, and it was the Cowboys by 3. Think about that. Not a lot. You think about it. Wait. Are you still there? Hello. Sorry. We're still recording. We are waiting, seeing how it goes. We'll see how the recording goes. I don't know what happens to the Dolphins, but okay. But oh, sorry. Yeah, that was on your end. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, everything was frozen. I don't know. It was weird though because it was still saying it was recording.
Yeah, it was still recording.
Right.
So, but anyway, I felt like like I said, back to what I was saying. The Dolphins have only beaten one 500 and above team, and it was the Cowboys by 3.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go through the Chiefs. I just want to see what they've done. So they lost to the Lions. They beat the Jaguars. Okay, that's cool. Because, I mean, I'm looking at the Chiefs' wins, and I'm not impressed with any of them.
But
I mean, granted, the Chiefs did beat the Dolphins. So the Chiefs already beat the Dolphins, but that was in Germany. They lost at home to the Eagles. They lost to the Packers. They lost to the Bills. If you look at who the Chiefs have beat, they've beaten, nobody relevant.
I'm looking at the Dolphins. They beat the Chargers by 2. That kind of looks a little bit sus. Patriots by 13.
Do you know how many the Chiefs beat the Chargers by still? Do you know how many the Chiefs beat the Chargers by?
How much?
1.
Well, that don't matter. That's close enough. That's close enough, Douglas.
But you're going to criticize.
To victory.
Criticize the Dolphins for only winning by 2 against the same team.
Yes, that means they're both. Okay, all right.
It's a super close game. I mean, I think for me, it's one of the games of the week. We get to see Tyreek back in KC.
Oh, that's going to be interesting. That's a good NFL storyline right there.
That's a great storyline.
But but I'm looking at the Bills lost by 28. And I'm looking at their losses. Eagles lost badly by 14. Beat the Patriots by a decent amount, but lost. They did lose the Chiefs by 7. They lost to the Titans by 1. They beat the Cowboys by 2, but that's not really saying enough. They got blown out by the Ravens. Wasn't even a good game. And then they lost by 7. They blown a lead and lost to the Bills by 7.
All right. Well, let's see what Scott Van Pelt thinks. Let's see who Scott Van Pelt thinks. He's.
The spread is 5 for the Chiefs as of right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm making a bad pick, but I just like a lot more about the Dolphins this year than the Chiefs for some reason.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just like, I know the Chiefs look bad, but the Chiefs are veterans. That's
Yeah.
what that's the only thing that I'm like, is this going to be, and that's what I'm thinking. Is this going to be like that 2018? Remember that 2018 Patriots season where they just looked mediocre, but they made it to the postseason?
Yeah, I know the run you're talking about, but then I don't know. I
Can
just
the
I just
Chiefs
don't
do
see
that?
it. I mean,
Can
they
they do
could.
that?
Like, oh, they absolutely could. I mean, but I also look at this as a team that like was never dominant. Like Mahomes never looked comfortable. The receivers can't catch. Travis Kelsey had a down year. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I like more pieces on the Dolphins team this year than the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, but I feel that the same way. I'm like down on the. So funny because you're down on the Chiefs right now. I'm down on the Dolphins right now.
Well, because I mean, I fully expected the Dolphins to lose to the Bills and the Ravens. So like, I also feel like I'm not really concerned about those losses. Like, granted, they're there, but I'm also like, I don't know. This is a team that was nearly a 1 seed as well. I think for the majority of the year, they were better than the Chiefs. And so
But
I'm like, I mean, granted, I'm okay with giving the Dolphins a 6 because I mean they're heavy underdogs and whatnot, but
I'm looking at the
like,
weather forecast for that Saturday. I believe the game's on a Saturday.
mhm.
It is going to be 7 degrees high. It's going to be -8.
Negative
Are you going
eight.
to tell me the Dolphins are going to do well in that?
A -8? Oh
The
no.
-8 low, and it's probably going to be 0 degrees.
1 degree. Oh man.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I looked at that weather, and I'm putting in the weather forecast, and it's going to be cloudy, and the wind's going to be 10 to 20 miles an hour. So that's probably going to even make it
Oh.
worse.
See,
Like,
but here's the thing though.
and there's a chance of
So,
high gust wind possible. Like I'm looking at that 15 to 25 miles an hour. Oh,
yeah, I'll
are you still
respect
there?
giving them a 6.
You
Yeah, I'm here.
respect?
I'll
You respect?
respect your decision to give them a 6, dude.
All right.
Like I respect it. I fundamentally this will be one of those ones where one of us is going to say I told you so in some way, and that's okay.
All right. And then I'm going to tell you when I told you so. And I have the weather forecast right here for Kansas City, 7
Yeah,
degrees. That's not
that's a big
good.
factor. That's definitely a big factor. But the
And it's going to be
Dolphins have
windy.
Achan. They have. Do you know who had the running back with the most rushing touchdowns this year? Still,
Yeah.
I'll give you a hint. It's the Dolphins.
But they
Like the
just
Dolphins
cannot
are.
beat.
I feel like everybody just thinks all the Dolphins can do is throw it deep. That's not what they're all about. They're a lot of quick screen games, running games. I'll stay strong with my pick, but I will respect giving them a 6 for now.
All right, all right. And you can glow when the Dolphins beat the Chiefs, but I will tell you this: I'm gonna give them the 7 for right now.
Yeah.
But when I'm right, and I'm talking about the weather forecast, and I'm talking about, so I guess we should talk about the Chiefs. I feel like we should probably say what's their positive for the Chiefs. I think the one positive, they have made it to a Super Bowl. This
Well,
is
it's
a
the
Super.
same. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, there are veterans. You know what I mean? Can they
No, I mean
do the
that's the
2018
easiest one
Patriots?
because I mean, yeah. I mean, I could see the comparison. Here's what I guess here's my opinion on the Chiefs. That's about all that they have positive going for them. You have Mahomes and you won the Super Bowl last year. But when I watch this team, I'm like, this team is never in sync this year. Like last year, they had a beautiful thing. And like this year, I watch it and I'm just like, every time I watch, I'm like, this isn't pretty even.
Mhm.
Like with the Dolphins, at least there's moments where I'm like, gosh, dude, this is the next wave of football. With the Chiefs, I'm like, are they about to flip to a defensive team with Patrick Mahomes? Like this feels like a defensive team, but this is a Mahomes-led Chiefs team. Confuses me.
And
I expect to
confused.
see them score.
Yeah, but I'm never count out Patty Mahomes. I'm just saying.
And that's why I'm not gonna go down dying, because like I'm still skeptical on Tua. Like there's times I'm like, yeah, Tua's like a legit MVP candidate, and then there's times where he just like puts up a dud against a good team. And like, okay, so like Tua's not Patrick Mahomes. I think this will be a really fun game though. So
I think honestly, this is gonna be a fun game, and plus with the weather gonna be like so like cold and windy with like a 25-mile-an-hour wind, like gust of wind, like highs, like that's not gonna be a fun. That's not gonna be a great passing game. If you think
like this
about
would have been a perfect game for the Browns to go out and beat the Chiefs. Like if the Chiefs are playing the Browns, I would defend the Browns real hard in winning that type of a game.
yeah,
That's
honestly,
gonna be.
I probably would give it to the Browns. I think the Browns would
I
probably
mean,
beat the Chiefs, but I do
like,
not feel confident with the
well, yeah,
Dolphins.
that weather is like so anti, obviously Miami, that might be the factor. So I'm good with it. I
Yeah,
I still have a gut feeling that the Dolphins will figure something out, but I think I might have some bias because my high school teammate is on the Dolphins. Like they're just a fun team.
I mean they're a fun team. Hey, I mean like I said, someone in my well, technically it was like the bigger school in Sandusky. Actually played for the Rams for a few years, made it to the Super Bowl, won a Super Bowl, actually made it to the Hall of Fame.
No,
Yes, I think yeah. So it's actually kind of a fun fact.
is this
My
the?
I'm trying to think who was the
Well,
Sandusky.
I mean,
Yeah,
that wasn't even like a small time name either. That was that what was his name? He was like,
yeah. So I'm trying to think Sandusky NFL. Oh, it's gonna make me so mad. Who Sandusky, Ohio NFL player?
well, because like he was a big time Ohio State
Orlando
player, wasn't
Pace.
he?
Orlando
Yeah,
Pace was the guy. Yeah, he
I
went
was
to
gonna
high
say
school in
like,
like yeah in
yeah, like
'95.
that's more than just making. Like he was like a literal, like well earned Hall of Famer.
Yeah, so that's actually kind of a fun fact.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of a ton fact. I mean, granted, he didn't go to my high school, but he went to the bigger city school. So
Yeah, very cool.
good for you. You know what? Good for you,
That's
Chiefs. But like I said, I'm saying the Chiefs. You're gonna say the Dolphins. And I can't wait for next week when we're going to do a eulogy on the Dolphins. I'm just saying it. We're doing the eulogy next week with the Dolphins. Let's go. I'm just saying it.
all
And
right.
finally, we're going to end up the Sunday games. We got to talk about the Steelers versus the Buffalo Bills. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Who's going to win
I
it?
mean, I don't think we need Bills. This is the worst game of the weekend.
Oh, no. There's another game that's the worst game of the weekend, and it's on Monday.
You really think the Eagles Bucks will be a worse game?
Come on, Douglas. These teams
I
don't even hurt the playoffs.
Well, they don't, but like the Steelers, I think this is the biggest mismatch I'll say, because I think the Buccaneers Eagles could be fun because it'll be one of those like kind of bad football games that'll like end up being like kind of fun, like high scoring, like some stupid plays. Like this Pittsburgh versus Buffalo game, I just see it as like Buffalo by 20. Like I don't.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. What are the positives we should put for the Steelers?
I mean, resilient. They're resilient as fuck. Like they had like a 3% chance, and they're like, you know what? We're gonna go out and win our last three when nobody expects us to. So
Yes, I guess they have
that's
a
pretty
good
cool.
defense, and
Like
also, and
top
also,
five defense.
yeah, and also, I think the one con, I guess, just say the biggest con, T.J. Watt got out, so he's not going to play this week, so that's
Yeah,
bad.
that's terrible. I mean, possible defensive player of the year. You have a Super Bowl winning head coach, which always helps.
Yes, I mean, granted, it's been a while. It's been since I'm trying to think 2010. It's been like 14 years.
Since yeah, it's been a very long time.
Yeah,
So I mean, this kind of feels like a Pete Carroll situation to me, where like I mean, if I was a Steelers fan, like granted, like the Kelsey brothers, I just saw them do a thing where they're like, dude, you never fire Mike Tomlin. But I'm like, if the Seahawks and the Patriots can both start over with Hall of Fame coaches, so can you, Pittsburgh. Like,
yeah,
don't settle for just sneaking into the playoffs and getting your asses kicked. Like,
yeah.
if we're
Honestly,
being real, oh, go ahead.
if you lose by 30, do you fire Tomlin? Let's
I
just
mean,
say it.
I think it has to be a discussion because it's like probably the fourth best team in your division. Like, I mean, my hot take, but like if Joe Burrow's, this is the fourth best team in the AFC North.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
Joe
they
Burrow's
made
not.
it in over.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
And it didn't have that slump couple like weeks. I mean, Pittsburgh's probably not in the playoffs.
well, and that's the thing. Like, they're a borderline playoff team for a reason. You gave them a 5 for a reason. Like, maybe maybe Mason Rudolph can do something. I guess I don't know. Like,
Oh my.
I'm not really excited for their quarterback options. I'm excited for George Pickens. That's a positive. George
Yeah.
Pickens and Jalen Warren,
Yeah.
two
Like,
fun, explosive players. So that's
I
something.
mean, I just feel like I don't think the Steelers would know. Like, I think this is a good question, and I'm gonna look at the spread. What is the spread for this? 10 points.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I mean, and
That's
that feels about fair.
oh my god. And I do agree. I think it should probably be more. It should probably be 12.
Yeah, I'm probably still gonna side with the Bills with the points this week. Like,
Oh, so what would you guess the matchup predictor for the Bills percentage odds? Bills versus Steelers. What would you give the Bills odds of winning the game? Just winning the game.
I would say like a 66%.
No, you're wrong. 76.6.
So yeah, that feels fair. Like, the Bills have been the hottest team in the league, arguably. Like, they're playing like the team we expected them to be. I mean, granted, the Steelers won 3 straight to get here, but it still feels like they backed in somehow.
Yeah,
Like,
and honestly, because the Jaguars collapsed.
I was gonna say, like, they went into the weekend not controlling their own destiny.
And
So it's
that's not
like it's not a good sign when you need a bunch of teams to lose and like weird situations to make it. Like, it's not a good recipe. So I think they're the 6. I think we both can agree on that being a 6.
and then I guess I should ask, do we really need a 14 team playoffs? Can we go back to like 12?
Yeah, I definitely preferred that, but like I do kind of like the single bye personally. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like 2 buys
yeah.
is a lot.
But then you have like stuff like this. And I don't even think Pittsburgh deserves to give them a 6. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. I've reflected on Pittsburgh a lot because I'm like, am I just being too hard on this team because they went 10-7? And I'm like, I don't think I am. Like, I just think fundamentally they're a bad team that, like, granted, you to win 10 games, you can't be terrible. But I'm
Yeah,
also like, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get how they made it. Like, I'm still sitting here like, you can't tell me in a realistic sense that Pittsburgh's better than Jacksonville, but they must be to some extent. But I'm like, I don't know. I'd be more excited to have Jacksonville here, and that's not saying much.
crazy part is they lost to Jacksonville.
Well, exactly. Like, like, I don't know. I don't get it. But the NFL is all about getting hot at the right time, and they've won 3 straight. Why not make it 4?
Yeah, they had some like weird wins. They beat the Ravens at one point, like in the middle of the season. They lost the 49ers. They beat the Brownies. But this was not like Flacco Brownies. Like I said, they beat the Bengals. They had those 2 losses really with the Cardinals and Patriots just look really bad in my eye. And losing the Colts 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Like, they just kind of got lucky. Beat the Seahawks.
No.
That locked them in. Beat the Ravens with their B squad.
Yeah, that's the other piece of this too. Like, we haven't even hit on the fact that they probably only realistically made it because the Ravens were benching everyone.
Yeah.
But did they beat the Ravens both times this year?
They didn't. They actually did beat them 10-7. Same score, 17-10. Ironically.
That's the thing. Granted, the first one wasn't a fluke, but the second one, it's like you're going all out against a team that is playing all their backups, and you needed to win against a bunch of backups and have a bunch of things happen to make it.
And I know that was a rainy game, but it's not good.
It's not good. All right, I'm kind of over the Steelers. Like, we'll do a nice eulogy next week.
Yeah, we'll do a nice eulogy, and maybe we'll have to do a eulogy on Tomlin if he gets canned.
We'll see. Yeah, if they get destroyed, then perhaps.
Yeah. Oh my goodness! Now we got to talk about Buffalo. Ooh,
Man, what a team!
We're gonna give probably the 7, right? Like, wouldn't you agree?
Uh,
7 for Buffalo?
Yeah, I'm okay with a 7. Because, I mean, I think, are they the 3 seed?
I believe, yeah. No, they're the 2 seed. So then they would play against
Oh.
they play against KC or the Dolphins again. Or
See, I mean,
no,
I like them in both those
wait,
games.
actually they might play against either KC or the Browns. So that would be the pick. Douglas. Oh, I don't know. I feel like this is gonna be
To
tough.
Baltimore.
Yeah. Yeah. So, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I think they're an 8. Sorry, I think they're an 8.
Do you think they could beat the Brownies? Do you think they
Oh,
could beat KC?
Yeah, they already beat
KC
KC.
got their KC got their money. I'm just saying that's my one weakness is like choking against KC. This team has choked in the postseason. Granted, they're probably not going to choke against the Steelers, but
Talk about
still.
earlier games. Do you know who beat KC? Stu.
You know who beat KC?
Hey, who beat KC this year?
The Bills.
At Arrowhead. And this game would be in Buffalo.
Yes.
The other games that they choked were all in KC.
Yeah.
So you tell me Josh Allen finally gets a home game against the Chiefs?
Yes.
I think this is the year of the Bills personally, other than maybe the Ravens.
Like, honestly, I think I'll probably still give them the 7. But I honestly got to say this. This is probably their best shot at making the Super Bowl. If they don't make it this year,
Yeah, I agree.
this is over. I'm going to probably have to lower them next year because I'm not trusting that. You know, like Von Miller's probably old. All these other players, you have an aging core. I do not feel confident.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but yeah, I mean, I think if I was doing it, I would give them an 8, but I respect a 7. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
granted, until they do it, but like, I really think that they are truly the second best team in the AFC, too. Like, I think they are. I mean, I think they've shown they can beat the Dolphins. They've done it twice. They've shown they can beat KC. They've done it. Like, who else might they play? Like the Browns? Like, did they play the Browns this year?
I think they did. Let me do a double check. I'm just like looking at it with my. Did they beat the Brownies? Did they play against the Brownies? No, they did not play against the Brownies this year.
Yeah, and I'm like, but I would like them to beat the Brownies.
But I feel like the Brownies are a little bit better than the Bills.
You think the Browns are better than the Bills?
I'm just saying, yes. I believe in the Flacco fever, man.
See, maybe, but I just, I don't know. I think Buffalo's the only team truly have elite offense and defense.
I think so, but
And
I'm like,
granted, I'm excluding the Cowboys here. I'm excluding the Cowboys a little bit, Stu, but I think there's 3 teams: the Ravens, the 49ers, and the Bills. I don't know why everybody's sleeping on the Bills. Like, I can't figure it out because this is like the hottest team in the league.
yeah.
Like, they're beating everybody. They've been dominant. They just came back from a huge deficit to win a division title, and everybody's just like writing them off. And I'm like, why are we not talking about? Like you said, this is their best chance. Like,
Yeah, I think maybe the reason why, and I'll put in the con, they choked in the postseason. Choke after choke.
But
Yeah. Oh, can you repeat that again? Sorry, Douglas. I didn't hear you. Hello. Let's see. I'm just going to do a double check. Yes, we are in the awkward. Oh my God. Look at that face. That face. Oh, we were trying to do something.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Hell yeah.
I just had to make fun of you before in the Frozen.
No, that's okay. But I mean, you know, if they win that coin toss in KC, we're having a whole different discussion.
Yeah.
Probably Josh Allen has won a Super Bowl. You know, life is good, but then bad luck. And last year they choked against Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow truly has Buffalo's number.
Yes. Yes. I will say, unfortunately, hey, Buffalo, it's your daddy calling, Joe Burrow.
Thankfully for them, Joey Burrow's on the couch.
Yeah, Joey Burrow's on the couch with his knee hurt right now, unfortunately. So I think, like I said, we'll give them the 7. We'll see how it goes. Maybe they might make it, or maybe the narratives stay the same. Just
You
saying.
never know.
That's the fun
I'm
thing.
all for new narratives.
Both all 4 of new narratives. Speaking of new narratives, we got to talk about the Cowboys and the Packers. We got to do the 3, 2, 1. Who do you think is going to win this one? All righty. Let's do it, Douglas. 3, 2, 1, Cowboys.
Packers.
You're kidding me!
Best team in the league, Stu.
Don't you dare trigger me! I'm triggered! The Cowboys are going to win a goddamn Super Bowl! We're going to the Super Bowl!
Stu.
We're going to Super Bowl.
So we've been talking about how Jordan Love is the next Aaron Rodgers, right?
Yes.
What a perfect opportunity to show this. Go win in Jerry's world. Go have a ridiculous throw between two guys. We'll have CeeDee Lamb will probably drop some ball that we all know is clearly a drop.
No.
We'll clearly say, yep, CeeDee did not catch that ball. He did not control it. Jordan Love's going to hit Jaden Reed on a beautiful pass between the safety and the corner. They're going to hit a walk-off field goal. It'll be amazing. It'll be like Aaron Rodgers never left.
No. Packers not our guy. No.
I'm fibbing, Stu. This Packers team, I mean, they're good. They're not good yet. They're not good enough yet. They're clearly the 6. Like another team that like overachieved. Good for you.
Yeah.
I think that this will be actually a pretty ugly game.
Yeah. Oh, do you think this is going to be which one's going to be an uglier game? The Packers, Cowboys, or Bills, Steelers? I think
Definitely Bills Steelers. Like this is a game where I won't be surprised if the Packers do keep it close. Because I think they have a good defense. Like I think Jordan Love has been good, and like Matt LaFleur is a really good coach.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think this is just like another one of those fun playoff games, Mike McCarthy versus old team, like lots of matchups like that.
Oh yeah, that's a funny. I forgot about that. So this is like a revenge for McCarthy. You know what I mean? The team that bounced him out.
Exactly. So like there's a lot of fun storylines, but I'm gonna say this, and this isn't meant to trigger you. Like I genuinely wouldn't be surprised to see the Packers win.
Uh-oh.
Like it wouldn't be a shock to me just knowing the Cowboys. But I also know the Cowboys are just too good at home. Like if this game was in Lambeau, okay. But like this game's in Jerry World in a dome, warm weather. The Cowboys offense is.
We have no losses at home.
Yeah, should have probably, but we won't get into that because we're focused on the forward view.
Yeah.
I think the Packers, like, they're a team that they're kind of like Houston to me, where it's like fun story, you made it, don't really expect you to go anywhere, but like good job, like way to have something exciting to build around.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the last 5 games for the Packers. So they beat the Chiefs, which that was okay, but like this is like the letdown Chiefs here. They lost to the Giants by 2. They lost to the Buccaneers by 14. Mm-hmm. They barely beat the Panthers by 3. They did defeat the Vikings by like 23 points, so that's at least a good one. And you kind of barely beat the Bears by 8. Like, this Packers is not going to win this one. I'm just saying it.
Like, this isn't a dominant team. You're saying what?
This Packers team's not going to be the Cowboys. Like, if they can't stop, if Dak throws like a lot of touchdowns, like a decent, like he can't, if like the defense can't stop Dak, this team's not going to win it.
Yeah, I think it's that simple. The Packers next year, I don't think we need to talk about them much more. Like, you're not going to realistically beat the Cowboys. Like, I wouldn't pick them in that game, but wouldn't be shocked.
And honestly, if they lose to the Packers, I think
McCarthy, if we're talking about, McCarthy's gone if they lose, but it's just like one of those games too, though, where it's like if we talk about, narratives, though, this is like the Bills all over again, where it's like if the Cowboys get bounced early, I think it's kind of like the Bills, where it's like you just got to restart. Like if you can't win with this team and getting the 2 seed, like you're not going to do it.
No. I think the Packers are probably going to be 6. I think they're going to probably lose by like 17. I think that's probably my guess.
Yeah,
I know it's a 7 spread. I know the spread is like 7, but I think it's probably going to be like 17, maybe 18. It's It's probably not going to be a fun game, but I will be close when we beat the Packers and say in your face, Green Bay. And it's also funny to think about it. Aaron Rodgers out, Packers making the playoffs.
That's what's fun. Like when you have a good organization like the Packers, you can have that. So good for them. Fun year.
Yes, but good for you, Packers. I'm going to write your eulogy next week. I'm just saying. Now we got to talk about my boys, America's team. Let's go. How do you feel about them Cowboys in the postseason? Let's do some pros and cons right now. Oh,
They got.
can you repeat that again? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I said the pros that they're lucky and they got the 2 seed because they're a good home team and they suck on the road.
Yes.
The con for them is that they would have to probably play at San Francisco.
Yeah, but
absolutely embarrassed.
But here's the prophecy. Am I going to talk about the prophecy? You know what happened in 1993 to make it to the Super Bowl? Play against the 49ers at 49er Stadium.
That's cool. That's not 1993.
I know, but wouldn't that be glorious?
And then, not really. Like, I don't know. I mean, I would like Brock Purdy to win a Super Bowl personally.
I want Raymond Dakota Prescott to win a Lombardi because I will tell you this, Douglas. I'm balling with the Cowboys, my team, and my whole life since I've been a little wee lad. Hasn't seen a Super Bowl since I was 5.
Yeah. I was 4 when this team last won a national title, Stu. It's a good feeling.
Yes.
Good feeling to get that off the chest.
Oh, and I will always ask this, Douglas. Did you cry when they won the Natty?
Surprisingly, no. It was more just like joyous. I loved watching JJ and Jimmy H all happy. It was a joyous occasion.
No, I'm going to be honest. I think for Ohio State, I did not cry for either Ohio State championships. I mean, the first time I was 12, and I was just like, didn't like know the gravity of them winning the national title because it's been that long. So
yeah, I mean, I think when you're that young too, because I remember the Pistons won the title when I was about that age, and I was like, "This is cool." And my dad looked at me and he's like, "Don't take this for granted." And like, I tried to let that sink in, and I'm glad I did because holy fuck, the Pistons.
Oh my God. I remember watched the 5 Points Vids video and he talked about it. He had a funny quote where he was like, if you were in a coma in 2004 and you just like woke up and you're like, my God, oh man, the world has changed. We got cell phones that you can go on the internet now. And wait a minute, the Pistons are terrible and the Lions are legit? What world are we living in?
Yeah, that's accurate for sure.
Is this the apocalypse?
What a world. Like, the Pistons are so bad.
The Pistons are so bad. This is like, I know we're not an NBA, and I'm more of a basketball cat, and I don't watch basketball, Douglas. But even I wanted to go to the Pistons game just to watch the gloriousness of them losing more games.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you could have gotten in for free. Like, if they would have charged you, that's a crime.
$12 for nosebleeds.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like they're just
$7 for like sitting in like the in like the end courts, back courts.
Well, you just it's bad when like you set a record for like longest losing streak. Like granted, since they ended that, they've looked a lot better, but you're still like, like the Oklahoma City Thunder are like amazing. It's like they were like in the same level as the Pistons like 3 years ago. The NBA is supposed to be an organization where you can turn around fast. So how the Pistons have sucked for 15 straight years is unbelievable.
Yeah, that's a good mystery. I don't know. I feel like there's some teams that just like, I mean, granted, I'm not an NBA guy, but I always feel like there's some teams that are like good, and there's some teams that just suck and they just stay.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's a weird sport because like there's teams that just stay at the bottom, and the Pistons have been there for a minute.
Yeah, and the funny part is they're probably going to get like the 4th overall draft pick. I bet you.
Yeah, they never get the number 1. Like it does. Yeah, Detroit does not get number 1 picks unless it's the NFL. Where if we go 0-16, we're guaranteed it. Like if there was a lottery, the Pistons still would have been, or the Lions still would have been like pick 12.
That would have been probably true.
Like,
but anyway,
lotteries hate Detroit.
So I guess we should talk about. So where we're going to put the Cowboys right now, because I think they're in a good spot to make it to the
Yeah.
championship. Like I think because they have like 2 home games, and
Yeah.
like I honestly do think they're
Stu,
going to.
we did this last week. Just give them your 8. Like I'm just gonna get salty if we talk too long about it. Just give them the 8 and let's move on. Like they're
We're going to the Super Bowl.
like I'm not gonna not be salty about it. Like granted, Dan Campbell even said it, and I'll move on. Like they could have done different things. They could have won the game.
They could have kicked a field goal instead of go for it on 4th and 7. Just saying.
Yeah, they could have done all those things. But the refs still screwed it, and the way the NFL handle it still pisses me off. So Cowboys are an 8. Like, I mean, I would predict them versus the 49ers. And I'm just gonna be honest, I think the 49ers will kick their asses again.
No, I mean if they I mean, I will tell you this. They make it to the NFC Championship. I'm tweeting them boys are back. Just saying.
I mean, that's fine. But I mean, if you think about it though, I mean, to get there, they'll probably have to beat the Packers and the Lions. It's like, is that really being back?
Yes. Yeah, in my eyes, it's back because that's one game. And if
You
the
know?
49ers have a bad game, we go to the mother trucking Super Bowl and we're going to
All right,
get
Stu, here's my real question for you. How are you gonna feel if the boys lose to the Lions?
we're not losing to the Lions. We're gonna beat the Lions. Dan Campbell's gonna be too ballsy.
How you feel? How will you Lions pull it off? Like this time they actually kick the field goal and win the game. How you feeling?
No, they're gonna go too ballsy. But we'll see. We'll see how
Does Mike McCarthy get fired if the Cowboys choke to the Lions?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Beating the Packers is enough to keep his job.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. So
Fine.
Cowboys 8. I think we're both gonna make it to the playoffs. They're gonna win it. Let's go. My boys. The curse is lifted. Jimmy's in the Ring of Honor. And like I said, the crystal ball. I can see it in my eyes. I'm seeing it. I remember Michael Irvin talked about it. CeeDee Lamb, Super Bowl MVP. I can see it. Manifest that.
Do you know what I see, Stu? I see the curse of Bobby Lane lifting, and I see, oh my God, why am I blanking on his name now? I see the Lions' great receiver. Why can't I think of his name, Stu?
Oh my God. I'm supposed to be the casual and you don't even know the wide receivers for the Lions?
I don't know where my brain's going, Stu. Ross St. Brown. Ross St. Brown is gonna be so upset that he did not make the Pro Bowl, that he is gonna torch every team in the playoffs for 150 yards and 3 touchdowns out of pure resentment for not making the Pro Bowl.
Yes. Now, but like I said, Cowboys, I can't wait to talk about you next week. Let's go. Now, we got to talk about the Rammies versus the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, this might be controversial, but let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Who are you going to pick? I'm going to go Rams. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I knew that you would. Like but then I make a controversial one and roast me. Like, I think the Rams do. Why not the team with a better record in the division title?
I just have a weird feeling they're gonna do it. I'm a little bit worried about the Lions defense. That's my only worry.
Hey, that Lions defense shut down the Cowboys.
Just saying, I know, but still, I just have a bad feeling. I'm sorry. I know Detroit's ahead by 3, but
I'm not gonna hate on you thinking a bad feeling, but that's why I also wouldn't be shocked if the Packers hang in there with the Cowboys. It's like, you got to win a playoff game, Cowboys. Get out of your heads. I mean, obviously with the Rammies, we got Super Bowl.
Got a Super Bowl winning team at this point, right?
You know,
we got Stafford, who knows this team.
Here's the thing. Here's why I'm going to pick the Lions, though. I truly think that also Goff is still like really like bitter about being traded because I think he thinks he could have won that Super Bowl too. And like I just think it's one of those games where like the Lions like lift a curse off and like it'll be just such a great story where it's like their first division title and playoff game is going to come over Stafford, and it's just going to be, I just project a really fun story, like a last second field goal or some bullshit for the Lions to win it. Like I don't think the Lions will win by a lot. Like I think this is one of the bigger coin flips of the weekend, but
Yeah, honestly, I
Lions
think this is
get the
going to be
monkey off the
closest
back.
to these two. I honestly do think I wouldn't be shocked if the Rammies win it. I wouldn't be shocked if the Lions win it.
Well, yeah, I
You-
mean, I think this is a pretty 50-50 game in a lot of ways. The Rams have been one of the better teams.
This year. Yeah, I definitely do think the Rams have done a lot better this year. And look at that. This person right here has his eyes closed right now. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? He's just like meditating, thinking, how is he going to win this one? Oh, sorry.
There you go.
You're cut out. I was just monologuing. I will say this.
Yeah, that's okay.
Now,
I was saying too, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Rams make it all the way to the title game with how good they've been playing.
yeah. Now this might be a good question. Should we give them both a 6 because we both feel, or both a 7 because we both think they're both going to win? This is a good question.
You didn't give the Dolphins a 7, Stu. So I would
Yeah.
say that I would say this one should go my way because the last one
All
went your way.
right. All right. Let's do it. We'll do it that way. You go.
Well, I mean, here's my logic, Stu. The Rams were a 6 last week because we projected them to play the Lions and lose. I don't think that changes in a weekend. Both teams won last week. They're playing against each other. We've had this matchup projected for 2 weeks, and we've given the Lions a 7. I don't think that changes now.
And plus, they have not played against each other this season, so we don't know what that matchup is going to be so far. So, as of right now, I do agree. I'm going to give the Rammies the 6.
All right.
And now we got to talk about your team, your Detroit Lions. Let's talk about the pros of the Detroit Lions.
See, they're a weird team to me because, like, I'm not gonna lie, I still think that they're a team that needs to add a lot of pieces to. Because if they add a couple pieces, this is gonna be an amazing team. I think we're still a piece or two away from like that feeling really confident that we're gonna make the Super Bowl. But I also feel like they just are gritty and they have enough pieces and they know how to grind out hard games. And I think that's their pro right now is like Goff knows how to kind of like grind. Like he's a good personality for
Before?
Mhm.
Oh, can you repeat that again? I'm
What's that?
sorry. Can you repeat that again?
I was just saying the whole thing.
Oh, just the part. There was like golf, and then
Oh yeah, Goff I think fits the city well. I think Aiden Hutchinson too. I think the fact that this is a dome game helps both teams. But I
yeah,
think it's kind of like Stafford's going to sit back there and throw all day. I think Goff. I think the Lions are creative. I think that they have one of the most creative offensive coordinators. And like I think they're just a team that plays really hard and connected. Like they feel like a team. And so do the Rams though too.
yeah. I think they're very good. I think if I had to say, I'm trying to think of my probe. You have golf that made it to a Super Bowl. That is a one thing that's a good. He is a veteran. He has made it to he has made it to the dance. He has made it to multiple playoff games.
Yeah.
So he is a veteran. Granted,
Yeah.
everyone else is not a veteran, but your QB is a veteran. And that's the most important, I would say.
I agree. I mean, I think this is one of those games where it's just like the home team should be favored either way. Like if these two teams played in Los Angeles, I would pick the Rams. If this game is played in Detroit, I think. Granted, I think that the Detroit fans will be nice to Stafford, but I also think that these fans are so fired up for this team, and the Lions get a home game finally. Like the fans are gonna lose their minds.
Yeah, and plus, first time since the Clinton administration, the Lions had a home game in a playoff.
Exactly. So,
And
I mean, I think,
and I should make sure that's Clinton's first term. That's how long Detroit has never been a home playoff game. In that one. It is crazy to think about that in that eyes. And it's crazy to think that Douglas is just thinking right there methodically as his internet has been absolutely as garbage as the Steelers offense.
yeah, that's fair.
I had to troll your internet. Sorry.
Hey, I did it with your internet for years. I get it.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. You have trolled my internet. But I definitely think the Lions are going to get a 7. Honestly, this is a good question. If this was a neutral site, who would win?
That's a good question.
Let's put it. Let's just. They said they put it in KC outdoors. Who wins that?
I don't know, because both teams are built very similar to me too. Because it's like you got some good receivers, you got good running game. I don't know. It's a coin flip for me. It really is, because I don't know.
I think maybe the
I think,
Rams.
yeah. I mean, I could see the Rams being like a slight favorite, like a slight, like not by much though. Like I think this will be one of the better games of the weekend.
Yeah, I definitely think that would be an interesting game. But like I said, I think this is probably out of all the 5 games, this is probably my favorite this weekend. Honestly, I can't wait for this one.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yes. Now, speaking of the opposite of the funnest games of the weekend, we got to talk about the Buccaneers and the Eagles. Oh God, why? All right,
See, you're hating on this one, but I don't get the hate. I'm excited for this one.
I've got to watch this Monday night game. I mean, I have to, but really, these teams just look. All right, I guess
I'm
we'll
not
do
sure how I feel about playoff games on a Monday. I want to start with that.
Yeah, I do not like that. Honestly, I think it should have been like 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Monday. I mean, on a Sunday, and plus, you
Yeah.
only get like 1 less day off.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I really don't. I'm not a fan of this. I don't know why they're doing it. Because I'm like, I don't know. Like, granted, I guess they want each game to like have the spotlight, but I'm like, we easily could have did something different than whatever this is.
You should have done 2, like have 3 and 3, 3 Saturday, 3 Sunday. Just
Yeah.
saying.
Agreed. Like, yeah, this is a hard game for rankings. So do you want to do the 3-2-1?
Oh yeah, we'll do the 3. I'm gonna guess the 3-2. All right, 3, 2, 1. Buccaneers.
Eagles. So
Yeah, I just weirdly, all right, let's do it. Why do I think the Buccaneers are gonna win? Do we have any possibility to think about the Buccaneers? My
I
God,
mean,
I think of 20
yeah.
negatives.
And that's why I'm picking the Eagles. Like, granted, there's not a lot of positive about them right now, but I'm also like, give me the better, like, Super Bowl experience quarterback.
I guess Baker's made a playoff win. If I had to put it there, you did have a couple players that made it to the Super Bowl, but
Yeah, I mean, they have some Super Bowl winning players. I mean, obviously, this whole team just won a Super Bowl 2 years ago or 3 years
you
ago.
got Mike Evans still there.
Yeah.
I think.
I think the pro with the Buccaneers is experience. You're at home. That's about all I got, Stu. Like, this is a team that I don't think either of us were particularly excited about. So I'm not going to lie. This feels like some Eagles biased here.
Yeah, I think honestly,
that's okay. That's okay, Stu.
can we just? I know we gave both teams a 7, like the Tampa Bay and the. Can we give both of these teams a 6? Because they both would have been destroyed if this wasn't the matchup for each other. They would both gotten killed. I'm just saying.
I mean, I don't think so, just based on like integrity for the game. But like, I get where your head's at.
Yeah, like honestly, if this
I think
was
it's a cop out to not pick a winner.
I'm sorry. If this was Eagles versus Lions, I think Lions would just destroy the Eagles. If this is Buccaneers versus Rammies, they would get destroyed this year. I feel like if this was any one of those teams, Cowboys, I mean, hell, I would honestly would say the 49ers would beat the Eagles or the Buccaneers.
Well,
I mean, not
so.
Buccaneers. They didn't lose to the Buccaneers, but like everybody, but I think the Green Bay Packers. Honestly,
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions definitely got a tough first rounder with that one. It was so close to being. Would you have taken the Cowboys to beat the Rams?
I think I would.
Yeah,
Just
I don't know
because
if I would. Yeah, that's a tough matchup.
I think that just because the home field, I think honestly that's a flip. But I would
Yeah,
now,
that's what I'm saying. I mean,
but that would be tough because it's Packers versus Lions, and then it's like they did lose. You did lose to them badly.
that's the thing. So you never know. We got the
Yeah,
matchups we got.
you got the
I
matchup.
mean,
You got that. Honestly, I think that's a bet. I will say this. I think it's probably better for the Lions that they play against the Rams and the Packers. I'm just saying.
yeah, I think so. Because I mean, even if we lose, like, I don't think a lot of people in Detroit will be like super, super mad if it's Stafford. So Not mad
Yeah,
about it.
you got like torched again by like the Packers again in the postseason and got bounced. I think that would be like people would be mad.
I mean, we're talking about the same thing with the Cowboys though, because if you guys lose to the Packers again, Mike McCarthy's gone.
I honestly,
This is a game that you can't lose.
you cannot lose to the Packers. Like honestly, you have the talent and all that. So
Yeah.
I guess we talk about the I guess we'll say for the Buccaneers, I guess we'll give them the 6. I'm not
Well, because I
impressed.
mean, did we have did we have the Eagles as a 7 still? Yeah, like we saw the Eagles as a 7 last week too. Because I think this is like the same thing as me to the Lions versus Rams. Is like, I think when we're this close, you just keep the status quo.
But like honestly, I'm just gonna say it. Whoever's gonna play who, and if the Lions win, they're gonna get killed in the 49ers. They're not gonna have a close game. They're gonna get killed by like 40 points. 35 probably.
I mean, we're acting like the Cowboys won't. Like the Cowboys lost by what 30 to the 49ers too.
Yeah,
So I
that's
don't know why we're acting like that's a shock when the Cowboys and Lions would probably also get their asses kicked.
yeah, that's true. Unfortunately, you're right.
So I mean, it's like, yeah, the Eagles aren't the Eagles of last year, but they're still an 11-win team that made it to the Super Bowl last year. That there's still a lot to like. I mean, there's a lot to not like too. Like their defense is a lot worse. Jalen Hurts isn't making as good of decisions. But I mean, give me experience every day of the week.
I think so. I guess maybe my positive, they did make a Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts. But I guess also the con is their last 5 games. Honestly. Like they're not, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I agree with like the your name tree guy. These teams are not the Eagles are not frauds. They're just garbage.
I mean, garbage is a strong word. I mean,
Like,
this is still.
like if I had to put who is the Eagles the worst of like the I'm trying to think of the wild card, barring Steelers.
No, they're better than the Packers. But like, if they played the Rams, I think it'd be another home team wins. They're better than the Texans. Like I'd say if we did a 1 through 10 ranking, the Eagles would maybe be about 9 or 10.
Ooh, that's a good. I thought this would be like at least 11 or 12. I would put Steelers number worst, and then maybe the Buccaneers, and then probably the Eagles.
I think the Eagles are better than the Packers.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think my only, and this is like my biggest
I think
con,
the Eagles are better than the Texans.
but like my only biggest con is they had really bad clunker losses. The last 5 losses, you got
Stu,
killed by the Cowboys by 20, lost to the Seahawks, didn't make the playoffs.
okay, Stu, wait. So the Eagles or the Seahawks were a player or two away from beating the Cowboys at home at Cowboys. The Cowboys lost to the Arizona Cardinals.
Week
Like,
3.
yeah, week 3. To this team, because if the refs don't fuck up that call, then they're the 3 seed, and like everything changes. It's like I get what you're saying overall, but it's still like I think the only difference between the Cowboys and the Eagles is that the Cowboys destroy bad teams and the Eagles are just mediocre against bad teams. Because like the
Yeah.
Cowboys haven't beaten anybody impressive. Like the Cowboys have not really done shit. Like they beat a bunch of bad teams. They lost a lot of bad road games. They got embarrassed 2 or 3 games. Like they suck on the road. Like they're great at home. But like I get what you're saying, but like you're making it seem like the Cowboys are like here and the Eagles are here.
No,
It's
no, the
like,
Cowboys are like here, and the Eagles are like here.
see, but like I think it's more like there's a gap. Like, don't get me wrong, the Cowboys are better, but you're making it seem like it's here when it's like here. Like I would not be shocked to see Philadelphia somehow go to Dallas and win a playoff game.
How dare you? How dare you? We beat them by 20. I'm just saying. How dare you, Douglas, on that one? And you're frozen because you deserve all the negativeness of saying that the Eagles are going to beat my team, America's team. I'm just saying. He's even frozen.
All right. So you hear this team, the 2018 Patriots, do
Yeah.
a team that had a pretty mediocre regular season, and then you know what they did? They got ready just in time for an epic playoff run because they knew how to get to the Super Bowl.
I feel like this is a different story. See, Casey is least fun.
I feel like you're fitting it to the narrative that you want to, is what I'm saying.
Yes, and because the Eagles are trash. I've been saying this.
Dude, this is on me. All right.
I apologize for saying the Eagles are frauds. They're garbage.
All right, let me give you another example, okay? Because this can show where the bias comes from. So me, a Michigan fan, sitting right here, all year I was saying that the Ohio State Buckeyes are frauds. I'm like, they are so overrated. They're not that good. But at the end of the day, they won 11. They were 11-0. They were realistically one drive away from potentially winning the whole national title. But because my team beat them and ended up going on to great things, I'm like, that team's trash. Like, that's still one of the best, probably 5 or 6 programs in the country this year. But everybody views them as just like terrible because of their expectations.
I don't feel
Because
like
if I'm trying to be not biased, like literally Ohio State had the ball with a chance to win that game at like the 40-yard line, down by 6, and they could have won and won the Big Ten, and they could have had all this glory. It was that close. And now it's like, what a failure of a season. But if one more drive goes different, we might be talking about national champs.
But I'm like, okay. I'm looking at and this is like my biggest con back to the Eagles. I'm sorry. And here's the difference. I feel like Ohio State, yes, they had one close, but they had close games against Michigan. It was one, like I said, that was that one drive. Eagles, the last 5 games, you lost 20 to the Cowboys.
Okay, but what was the score in Philly?
It was actually close, if I remember correctly. It was 28-23. That was a close game.
Close-ish game, yeah. I feel like the Cowboys scored late to make it close, though, or something. Maybe I'm just misremembering it.
No, they had like 6 minutes. 6 minutes 23. They scored a touchdown. If I'm looking at it right now, stats.
Yeah, so they were down by like 12 points late in the fourth quarter.
11 technically.
Yeah, so they're down double digits late in the fourth quarter. So like realistically, if that game goes different, it could have been an 18-point loss. Cowboys score late instead of the Eagles, whatever.
But they played at home, away against the Cowboys. Lost by 20 points.
Yep.
They lost to the Seahawks. They blew that game. They had a huge lead, and they blew that game.
Yep.
And they lost by 2. They had a touchdown lead, and blew that game by 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
They did beat the Giants, but they should have probably lost to the Giants, and the Giants actually kind of screwed that game up. I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like that was more like the Giants lost than the Eagles win, to be honest with you. I watched that game.
Okay.
Giants did not look good in that one. Couldn't do a drive at the end. They weren't good. And Tommy DeVito got hurt also.
Cool.
Lost the Cardinals. Granted, maybe this is a better Kyler Murray Cardinals, but still, this is at home. And a season stud.
Yeah.
And on this, having a hope of winning a home playoff game, they lost to the Giants, and it wasn't even a close game. Yeah. They were at one point in the second quarter, 24-0 by the end of the second quarter.
So I hear you. I definitely hear your points. Who was the quarterback when the Cardinals beat the Cowboys? It was Josh Dobbs.
Yes.
Josh Dobbs? There's no Kyler Murray still.
Okay, that was week 3. And I will always argue, and this is always my opinion, Douglas, it's not how you start the season. It's how you're ending your season.
Okay.
That's always my opinion on all NFL teams.
You were just talking about how the Dolphins are frauds. The Cowboys just lost to the Dolphins. They needed a controversial penalty to beat the Lions. So like the Cowboys easily could have lost 2 out of 3 with just a measly win over the Commanders to end the season.
and we probably would have beat the Buccaneers and we're probably playing deja vu all over again.
Yeah, like because I agree with your point that the Cowboys are better. I think you're being a little bit biased with how much better the Cowboys are than the Eagles.
And maybe because I will say, I think because the Cowboys. Okay, and that's what I put it. I think because the playoff spot, since they got the second seed, I think they're in a better spot because the next two, they're going to have a home this week. They'll have a home next week.
Agreed. I mean, that's what's so crazy about it, though. Is like if one game goes different, then all this is flipped. If the Lions beat the Cowboys, if the Eagles somehow like whatever, there's so many things that could have happened different. But it's like literally a play here or a 2-point conversion there. So it's like while the Cowboys are the better team, they'll get the home game. They would beat the Eagles if they played them again at home. I agree with all of your points. But the Eagles are not garbage. Like, they were winning in a lot of these games. Like, are they great? No. But, like, garbage is like the Panthers are garbage. The Carolina Panthers are garbage.
Okay, how about let's just say this. They're the most mediocre team that made it to the playoffs. How about that?
You got the Steelers there.
But who's the worst in the NFC? Would you put
I think it's ranked appropriately. I genuinely think that if I was to rank the NFC and level of like best playoff teams, I would flip the Eagles and the Buccaneers, and that's it. I would go 49ers are the best, Cowboys are the second best, Lions are the third best, Eagles are the fourth best. The Eagles are better than the Eagles are definitely better than the Buccaneers.
Better than the Rams?
Well, maybe not the Rams. Like I think that would be a really good game.
Yeah, but I'm just like I think they would even lose to the Rams, even if at Philly.
Maybe. Like it's possible. Like I think a lot of teams, I think the Cowboys would possibly lose to the Rams. Like this is a Rams team that just took they've been so hot. The only game that they lost was an overtime loss at Baltimore.
Yeah.
Like nobody's saying that the Rams are not a really hot team. Like if we're talking about teams that are hot, yeah, sure. So like maybe you could put the Rams in there. So like either way though, they're better than the Buccaneers, they're better than the Packers, and they're arguably better than the Rammies.
All right. But I think for right now, I'm gonna give the Eagles a 7. You win this one. But you know what?
I mean, you can give me a good "I told you so" if they lose to the Buccaneers. I won't be offended.
They get blown out by if they get destroyed by the Buccaneers, I will tell you so. I will be like, this team totally collapsed. I was right. Ha ha ha. This team was.
I will eat my words too, because I've been trying to defend the Eagles for a while here.
And I'm trying to be, and I'm trying to get my Eagle bias and my Eagle hate. But I've just not been impressed.
I mean, there's a lot of teams I haven't been impressed with, but like at the end of the day, they won 11 games.
Yeah, you know what? Good for you. So now we got to talk about the 2 bye teams that made it all the way to bye games. We got to talk about Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah,
they look legit right now. This is honestly the 2-9 teams, and I feel like both these teams should be kept the 9. Now,
yeah, I agree.
Now this is a good question because I'm looking at we should look at the history of because if I'm thinking when we did the 12-team playoffs, when we did the NFL, I should look at the Google So for the 2020 season, because I think that's when they started the 2020 season, right?
Something around there, yeah.
Yeah, with the playoffs. Did the number 1 seed? I'm gonna make sure. I'm gonna double check who was the number 1 seed. I don't think it was Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay was a wild card, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
If I had it, who was so it was the Colts. I'm trying to look. Who was the number 1 seed in the? Come on, give me a bracket. This is gonna make me so annoyed.
Well, because I think last year it was a matchup of 1 seeds.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the match. Oh, was the matchup of the 1 seed?
Yeah, I think both the Eagles and the last year was. I don't know about 2020.
I thought it was the 49ers that made it last year.
No, the 49ers had to play at Philly.
Oh, they did play at Philly. Oh, yeah. Because it was the Buccaneers.
I think last year was a matchup of the 1 seeds.
Because I know I don't think the Rams were the 1 seed, right? 20 they won the Super Bowl.
No.
I don't think either one was the 1 seed. I don't think either the Bengals or the Rammies.
Yeah. So.
I think it was, if I'm trying to remember my football now, I think it was KC was the number 1 seed. And who was, because I don't think Philly made it. It wasn't the 49ers because they had that bad year. Oh God, I'm trying to like get my Super Bowl. This is
So
my
in 2020, the
knowledge.
Yeah, where's the bracket at? Schedule. So the first weekend due to wild card. No. So you would have had. Where is it? Yeah, it looks like it would have been. I'm confused.
Yeah, the Wikipedia is not the best.
Yeah, it's kind of set up super weird. It looks like no, the Rammies. Looks like the Packers might have been the 1 seed.
Oh, the Packers were the 1 seed. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, had that really balling year, and then he got like torched. Oh yeah, because that was Stafford beat them at Lambeau, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, yeah.
Or Tom Brady beat them at Lambeau.
Yeah, Tom Brady beat them at Lambeau in 2020 because I remember the Buccaneers were the wild card because I think the Saints got the division and then they bounced them out.
Yeah.
No, they
like
bounced them out in the second round. Yeah, if I remember correctly.
So it looks like 2020 it was the Chiefs and the Packers as the 1 seeds.
Yes, and I remember yes. And then 2020 had to been who was 2021? This is a fun one to ask. This is I know this is a long podcast, but it's like oh shit.
I think this was 2021. Maybe it was the weird year that the Titans made it. Were they the 1 seed that year? Oddly enough.
Let me check. What was the 2021? I'm trying to look at the Google. No, trying to look who had the. Oh, look at that! I just remember Google is my friend and not my food. Okay, so it was KC in 2021. It was KC and the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then 2022 was, I want to make sure, what was last year's bracket? 2022.
Well, last year would have been the Eagles and the Chiefs.
No, actually, it was. Who was the number 1 seed? Oh, it was. No, wait, that's not right. Titans?
Well, that's what I was saying. Like Titans a couple of years ago, where they had that one really weird year, and then they lost early in the playoffs.
Oh yeah. Then they got bounced out. They were like 1 and done, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah, that was when like King Henry got injured and everyone was like hyped up, and then they just like womp 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 womp.
Yeah, nobody really picked them to win because of that injury. But, anyways, let's finish this off because we're almost at 2 hours.
I'm sorry. I know. We went into a long tangent. Do you think Baltimore and or the 49ers are going to make it to the? They're going to bounce. They're going to make it to the postseason because, like I said, looking at the stats, they have. There's never been a number 1 that made it both from the first and the second.
Yeah, I mean, I would pick them. I mean, I truly think that they've been the most consistent, dominant teams all season.
Yeah.
I would strongly think so because I mean, the only team in my mind, and like, granted, I think you had like KC possibly doing this, but the only team in my mind that could realistically, well, there's 2 teams, the Brownies and the Bills, that could beat the Ravens for me.
Yeah,
I think those are the only teams that have enough offense and defense.
Yeah, and that's what probably I'm going to put my one con on the Ravens. Granted, my pros are offense look legit. They just dominated against everybody. Maybe my only 2 cons are they lost to the Browns twice. That's one. And Lamar has been a history of choking in the postseason.
Well, that's the hard part too, like because both these teams still have to prove it, and like that's what's so hard about the postseason. But if you look at these teams, they're clearly the 2 most complete. Oh man, I have to go to the bathroom still. I'm dying.
Hey, don't worry. I'll just talk about like all right. So like I said, I feel for the Ravens.
I'm running.
Don't worry. You'll be running. I'm this ship. I'm taking care of this ship. Look at me. I'm the captain now of this ship. So anyway, I feel like for the Ravens, they look definitely legit. I am only nervous, like I said. The Ravens under Lamar, they've been choking in the postseason. They've only been one and done. Under Lamar, they have never made it to the NFC Championship. AFC Championship in this one. That is my only con. Can they? And like I said, they only have to beat one game. But then I'm like thinking in my back of my mind, if KC wins, they got to play against the Brownies.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to the Brownies.
Well, so one correction though. Sorry, that they only lost to Cleveland once. They split it.
Oh, sorry. But they did lose to them at away, right?
Yeah, I think they lost in Baltimore to Cleveland, and they both won the road games. They lost twice to the Steelers. Were those their only losses?
Yeah, I think that was their only losses, to be honest.
Yeah, they were. I don't remember if they're 13-3 or 14. I don't know what their record is, but either way, I mean, just their defense is a top 5 unit. Lamar is playing at an MVP level. Like when he's healthy, like I don't know how you stop him, because like he can throw. He obviously is like so fast. Like he's definitely not just a running back playing quarterback. Like he is an awesome QB, deserves the MVP. It'll be a second MVP award. I think this might be the year that he finally gets over the hump and stops kind of getting a little bit of the hate for just being like a regular season quarterback, or like, pulling an Aaron Rodgers with a bunch of MVPs but can't win the big games.
That kind of reminds me of hockey. This might be a hockey reference. Steve Yzerman, the captain for your team. I know this we're enough.
I mean, there could be if he finally gets over the hump this year,
Yeah, he had a history of just like choking the postseason. Man, that would a choke artist. This person's like can't do anything in the postseason. One cup, all that narrative goes away.
I mean, I think that's the case this year for Josh Allen and for Lamar.
Yeah.
Like, I think Brock Purdy's still so young, it doesn't matter. I think Dak's starting to get there, though.
Counting Brock Purdy, and I feel like because he was not drafted first, I think a lot of
thing,
yeah. Well, I feel like I agree with like Richard Sherman when he talked about it. If like Brock Purdy was like a number 1 overall QB, like in the first round of the draft, I think we'd be a lot more high on Brock Purdy.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'd agree with that. I mean, if this was Trey Lance leading this team, we would be thinking kind of like, all right, this is why we drafted you.
Mm-hmm.
But like, because I think Dak is getting to that point too, though. Still, I'm going to be honest. Like, I think Dak has been the Cowboys QB for since 16 or so.
Yeah,
like
so
7 years.
7 to 8 years now. Yeah, it's going to 7 to 8.
Like, and what has he done? Like, you gotta start winning some playoff games, man. Like him, Josh Allen, and I think Lamar are the 3 with the most pressure on them.
Yeah, honestly, I do.
Goff's made a Super Bowl. Stafford's won a Super Bowl. Mahomes has won a Super Bowl. I don't think there's a lot of pressure on CJ Stroud. He's a rookie. Like Baker, there's not really a lot of expectations. Like people, I don't even think expect him to be a starting QB this year. And here he is in the playoffs, so it's kind of just a fun story.
I feel like maybe I would argue maybe the Eagles have a pressure of like, oh my God, we have like 4 losses in a row. We don't want to like collapse during the end. I think they got a little bit of pressure. Every
team has pressure, but like they also made a Super Bowl last year. They won a Super Bowl in 2016. It's like
18,
as an organization, they don't have a lot of pressure, but like maybe like for the fans, but like shoot, I mean, 13 teams are going to be bummed out at the end of this.
Yeah,
13 teams are going to take an L in the next month. So
yeah, like I said, I think honestly we're going to give the Ravens the good 9. I think they're probably going to make it to the Super Bowl. This might be the 2.
Harbaugh.
The year of the Harbaugh. Can the year of the Harbaugh, where his brother John get a Super Bowl, a second ring?
I think that this is one of those years too. I mean, I think it's just once a decade. It's due every like 2013, 2023, just the year of the Harbaughs.
It's the year of the Harbaugh. We'll see how it goes. We'll see. And maybe Harbaugh maybe Jim will probably get a Chargers job real soon.
That'll be fun.
Yes.
We'll see where he goes.
Now we got to see what the 49ers, finally, we got to talk about the 49ers right now.
Yeah. I mean, I still think they're 9. I still have a sour taste in my mouth from the beat down from the Ravens. But like, if you look at their full body of work, what they've done against the other NFC teams, I mean, they still have to be the favorites. I mean, they just lost to the Rams, but they were resting everyone, and they only lost by 1 point. Like
Yeah,
the
you lost to their B squad Rams.
yeah, like the Rams playing for everything in the world. I mean, no, I guess they weren't. That's a lie. They already had made the playoffs. But like the Rams with a lot on the line, like the 49ers still stuck in there.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Like I said, and I will say this: they dominated against the Cowboys. They dominated against the Eagles. One of them against the Eagles game at away, so that's really impressive. Like
Yeah.
they got the home game. They pretty much have all the home games, so that's at least a good advantage right there.
I was gonna say, I mean, there's a lot to be excited for, I think. Like I wouldn't be shocked completely if the Lions or the Cowboys could beat the 49ers, but those are the only teams that I realistically think. Maybe the Rams. Like I think those 3 teams could give San Fran a little bit of a run, but like I truly don't think that the Lions could slow down San Francisco enough. Like they have too many good players.
And here's another advantage: if it's going to be, let's just say the Lions win it, you get to play against the Eagles or the Bucks. They're not going to win. They're not going to beat San Francisco. Jalen Hurts ain't going to beat San Francisco.
I mean,
you're not going to tell me that Baker Mayfield is going to beat the 49ers at 49er Stadium.
No. I mean, if I had to pick a single team, though, and this is going to be a hot take to beat the 49ers, now that I think about it, I think I would pick the Rams. I think if I had to pick one team to win one game to beat the 49ers, the Rams might be our best bet.
Honestly, I feel like the Rams might be in a good spot. Like, honestly, and that would be kind of crazy because then that would mean like the Cowboys win it, and then let's just say the Rams win it, then that means they play against the Buccaneers or the Eagles, and I feel like the Cowboys have like the easiest road to make it to the NFC Championship. Like if you think about it, they have like the easiest. Yeah. This is honestly, if I'm thinking about it, this is their best shot as a Cowboys fan to make it to the NFC Championship and make it to a Super Bowl.
I mean, theoretically, you might have the Lions stand in your way.
If the Lions, that might be a tougher road, but if the Lions fall, if they lose, there's no excuses at this point.
Well, let's see, because if they lost, the Lions are the 3. Yeah, because
the Rams would have to play against the 49ers, and then it would be like either going to be the Bucks or the Eagles.
Or it could be the Packers versus the 49ers.
No! Don't do this to me.
There we go. Then the Lions can host the Buccaneers.
No.
That's my bold prediction, Stu. Lions over Packers for the NFC Championship. NFC North is the best division in football.
No, I don't want that. That is a curse you don't want.
I mean, I think these are going to be great playoffs. I mean, there's a few teams like this first week has a couple of slightly duddish feeling games, but I mean, I'm excited for the Dolphins versus the Chiefs. Like, I think that's like an underrated game. I'm really excited for
Rams versus Lions. That's my favorite.
Lions versus Rams. So that's another great one. I'm excited. There's a couple other good ones. I forgot the other matchups we had. The Eagles Buccaneers, I'm kind of excited for, like not because they're the best teams, but like I think it'll be a kind of a weird shootout, kind of fluky game.
I feel like it's gonna be a dumpster fire vote.
See, but like I think part of what I've tried to do as I've evolved as a football fan is just like appreciate that even like not perfect football is still good football. Because it's like if it's just 2 kind of mediocre teams, like giving it their all, like those can still be really fun games.
Yes, and this is gonna be fun. And look at that, we got now 14 teams in the postseason. And like I said, there's going to be no more 6s after next week. We're only going to go to 7s or 8s, 7, 8, or 9s next week. We're going to see
out the 6s. Yeah, we'll get to see how good we did on our rankings. Maybe we get some fun upsets here. Who knows?
Yeah, and maybe we'll eat some crow. And I can't wait. I mean, we eat crow because we thought the Jaguars were going to be here, but
hey,
now I guess we'll talk about for the next 2 weeks. So next week, we're going to discuss the 14. Like they said, we're going to probably go to 8 teams left. We'll do our games predictions, same way, pros and cons. Then we'll do the same thing in the 4. Then we're going to do something special for the next 2 weeks. Since we got the Pro Bowl, and you're going to watch the Pro Bowl, right?
No chance. I don't think I've watched a Pro Bowl in 15 years.
I I will always say it. And I loved it. There was one journalist that said it best. It's a bunch of grown men playing a pillow fight. That's the Pro Bowl.
Well, yeah, I mean, they literally are playing flag football now.
Yeah. Like, literally, they are playing flag football. They're not even.
Yeah, like,
That
and I
bad,
mean,
so-
I get it. I get it. You're not trying to get everybody hurt. Like, I feel like back when the NFL was young, sending them to Hawaii was like a treat. Like, now these dudes just like go on amazing trips all off season because they're all making multiple millions of dollars. Like, back in the day when like NFL salaries were probably like 100K, people were like, "Oh my God, what an honor!" Like a all inclusive, Hawaii trip. Now it's like it's not really an honor. It's like it's cool to be on the squad, but you just want your name listed.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
shoot, if I'm making $12 million a year, do I really care about like another work obligation? Like, I don't want to fly out to where they don't even know Hawaii anymore. They do it in
no,
like
they're
Vegas.
doing like Los Angeles. No, they do it Orlando now. And it's like,
Yeah, exactly. They
what?
like partner with like Disney and
What's the
stuff. It's
football
like
club of Orlando?
they've Disneyfied the NFL still. ESPN's taken over, man. The giant Mickey Mouse.
Giant Mickey Mouse got mad at Aaron Rodgers for making fun of Jimmy Kimmel.
It must be, man. I don't know. There's some bad juju with it all.
Anyway, so I guess back to what I was saying. So since we're gonna have the Pro Bowl, we decided, and this is actually my idea, and Douglas, I think you like this idea. We're gonna do we're gonna talk about the game recap for the two teams that made it to the Super Bowl. Why the AFC team made it to the Super Bowl, and why the NFC team made it to the Super Bowl. And
I like
then
deep dives, yeah.
we'll do a quick who's our prediction of going to win the Super Bowl and why are pros and cons. But
I like it. I doubt that video will take 2.5 hours, so that'll be good.
yeah, or maybe it'll be 3 hours. We'll see. We'll see who we got the
It
recap.
depends on how deep we go. If the Eagles make it there, I think it'll be a short video.
Yeah, so it would definitely be a short. It would definitely be like this team was trash. This team was trash. This team was trash.
Team got lucky. A bunch of garbage.
Yes. I will laugh if we do the Lions or Cowboys. That would be kind of hilarious. Just to kind of
I hope so because we're playing the ski trip, so we can all watch the Super Bowl together. So in a perfect world, it'll be Lions versus Brownies, and we can have a fun Super Bowl.
Yes. Hey, we'll see how it goes. But anyway, is there anything we'd like to say before we go and end this stream?
I think I got one simple thing to say, Stu.
What is it? Unfortunately, your internet said you hold my beer. You're not going to say anything.
Go blue.
No, no, no. You know what I got to say? I got to say one thing before we go. And a great man that got in the Ring of Honor recently. He got us to 2 Super Bowls. The late Jimmy Johnson said one thing. When he won his championship, when he won the NFC Championship against the 49ers at 49er Stadium. How about them Cowboys?
He even did it with his accents, too. Amazing.
Yes. But anyway, we shall catch you later for next week's games. See yous.
Adios.
Adios.